Hello, welcome back to Benched Bros. I'm your host E,
And your boy Cheese Peas.
and today we are going over week 5 of NFL, but we're doing it a bit differently this week. We're only sticking to our divisions because last week was just so much work watching all those games. So yeah, and whatever other game we're going to talk about. And I think this week it's just the Giants and the Packers. So yeah, we're going to go over the NFC South and whatever division your Cowboys are in.
The NFC East. Are you sure you're the South? I thought you were the
Yes,
West.
I am How am I West?
I don't. None of
S-
these mean
Florida's the
anything.
most southern state you can be in.
Well, yeah, and the Cowboys are in the East. So, but for whatever reason, they're in the East.
Yeah, you're
You know what?
east
You
of
have a point
Mississippi.
here.
You have
They're all in the South.
Yeah. I mean, you
LA
also
used to
don't
be in the Midwest.
want to like stack the divisions too much.
I don't know what that means.
So you don't want to have like too many good teams in a single division.
Yeah, but they don't like change the teams out every few. What do they ever change the teams out? I feel like the
No, only if a
Rams have been in the
team
NFC
I
West for a
think on
while.
I think if a team like I don't know what happened when they moved when the Rams moved because the Rams used to be in didn't they used to be somewhere else before they went to St. Louis and LA?
Uh,
I know they were in LA. They went to St. Louis, but I thought they were in a place like before they were even like in LA.
Cleveland, it looks like.
Okay, so yeah. It might be from when they were in like Cleveland because I know they left Cleveland to go to I know they had left to go to Los Angeles and then a few years after the Cleveland formed another football team which became the Browns. So I don't know where they moved them around and they did what to the divisions. Anyways, getting sidetracked immediately.
What do you that absolutely people don't know this. We need to make sure that our audience is informed.
So you want to
What
talk
game
about
would you yeah.
I was the only thing I had to say about Thursday night's game, it was whack.
Yo, Broncos fans were leaving with like 10 seconds to go and I think the Broncos had the ball for that last drive, did they not?
Broncos fans were leaving in like the third and fourth quarter, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want,
I mean,
man? Russell Wilson is not he's a great quarterback, okay. But
yeah, it just ain't
no
it.
quarterback is good enough to fucking turn around a team like the Broncos. Brady
I
can
mean,
do it, but that's because
Brady did
Brady
it too.
is
Well, well, to be fair, the Buccaneers had a functioning offense and a really good defense. It's just that our quarterback, Jameis Winston, was not good. He was the problem. And when he got cut or his contract was up and we got Brady, we already had a really good team. We had a solid I wouldn't say we had like the greatest like offense in the league. I won't say that. But when Brady came, it turned it into like a great offense into a really good offense and our defense is always like first to third in the league for that year.
yeah.
So he had like a solid team already around him when he came.
Now, with that being said, what really happened with the Falcons, man?
Oh, you want to start out with the Buccaneers first? I was going to start out with the Giants and Packers and just go down the list, but we can start with the Buccaneers.
No. Yeah, I
It
feel like we
doesn't
already
bother
had this was a good segue.
me. Okay.
We'll
Um,
just cut this part out. Yee cut this part out. All right, we're good.
I'll leave it in. Um, so starting out with the Falcons and the Buccaneers, good improvement overall from last week. We still need more work to do, but we didn't fumble the opening kickoff this week, so that improvement right off the bat.
Step number 1.
Our first running play of the game, we already like doubled our yards from last week, so that was
Yeah.
amazing.
What was it? Like 3 yards last
It
week?
was 3 yards last week on total running
God,
offense. I
man.
think it was something like that, or -3. It was not good.
It was a
Leonard
plus or
Fournette
minus
had a
3 from 0.
Leonard Fournette had a great game this week. Um, the only other thing is Brady was looking really sloppy throughout the whole game. I don't know what was up with him, but especially on the first drive. He was really not there. Also, another thing about this game, the refs, oh my God. This was like one of the worst officiated games I have ever seen
Yeah,
on both sides of the ball.
I was watching
Uh,
the YouTube video, like worst calls of week whatever the fuck,
okay.
and it was just a highlight reel for your game.
Yeah, the refs are blind and they can't spot the ball. Leonard Fournette clearly like crossed the first yard line on the replay. He the not line of scrimmage, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
And they spotted the ball backwards, which was not cool. And then they brought out the chains, and so it was behind the chains. Yeah, nothing really happened in quarter one. They were tied at 0.
yeah, it was a very sad
W-
game to watch there.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. This
Yeah,
is the probably the best the Falcons will ever be. So,
and you're just talking the fourth quarter, right?
oh, I'm going down my list.
Oh, okay.
No, the Falcon, even I don't know who said it. When I think it was our coach, said this is like probably the best the Falcons have been.
Yeah, because they looked like garbage last week. And Mariota, Marcus, we'll call him Marcus because
Yeah.
I don't know how to say his name. But every time they had the designed run with him where he just pulled at a running back
Yeah.
lead, the guard pull, it was, you guys could not stop it. Buccaneers getting ran over with that. Everything else, though, held well until the fourth.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Um, Now they're into the second quarter. Brady throws a pass to Mike Evans, and it was beautiful. Like it was just past Mike Evans, and he stretched those fingers out. He had those go-go
Yeah.
gadget fingers, and he latched onto it. But he got like a little banged up on the play. He sat down for a little bit, came back in, had a great game. The refs still don't know what the fuck they're doing. They
Oh, yeah.
gave the Bucks a holding penalty, and then they stopped the game, like, they had given us the penalty, right? And then they blew the play dead and decided to have a conversation, I guess, about it.
They
I don't
went to
know.
hold each other. That's what it was. It was actually
Yeah,
just a very elaborate way to talk to each other. You know, when you're like friends in school and you just go to the bathroom at the same time?
yeah. And then, we had a great drive down the field, and then, Leonard Fournette punches into the end zone, giving us the first touchdown of the day. And in that last like 5 minutes of the second quarter, the Buccaneers got like a really good rhythm going, and it kind of looked like our old selves again. Refs are really high this game. Um,
Higher than Falcon cities at this point.
the Falcons player goes off sides, right? And a Bucks player, you have to tap like touch them for for the penalty to go, right?
Yeah, to be a neutral zone infraction, yes.
Yeah, so they do that. The Falcons go offside. A Buccaneers player touches them, and then the ref calls us offsides. So that was pretty cool.
I didn't know the
Um,
offense could be offsides.
yeah, I didn't know that either until Sunday. And then the rest continue not to know the rules of football, and they let the Falcons switch out for a field goal defense inside the last 2 minutes of the second quarter. And you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to switch up your defense, unless the offense calls a timeout or you call a timeout, or like a timeout has to be called for you to switch off your offense like that in the last like 2 minutes of the game. But we were going for it on like a fourth and goal, but yeah, the refs just let that happen, and so we ended up, just kicking the field goal anyways. So that kind of sucks. That shouldn't have happened. And Young Wei Koo, probably the best kicker I've seen for the
It's
Falcons
pretty
have,
good.
missed a 51-yard field goal, and the Falcons go into the third quarter with 0 points still. The Falcons really don't do anything with like another drive, and then we get the ball back, and we make a quick little drive down the field in the field goal range and kick another one, making it, 0-13 score going into the third quarter. So that's pretty fun. We dominated like that first half of the game.
Oh,
We
yeah.
might have not like showed it with points, but just our present ball presence and the Falcons just not being able to do anything with the ball for most of the time, even getting field goals. Um,
Yeah, I don't know what I mean. The Falcons defense, you guys were definitely you were running the table, but for whatever reason, I mean, they were able to just, not every play is going to be a touchdown,
yeah.
but the Falcons would just turn it on randomly, and it was always between probably the 50 to like their 30, and they
Mhm.
would turn it on, make it hard. Bucks would lose momentum, and then that's where it kind of staggered out to that field goal.
Yeah, Tom Brady still had 351 passing yards on the day.
The man threw what, 52, 53 times?
He threw 52 times, completed 35 of them,
Yeah,
which is roughly what, 65 to 70%?
roughly.
It was just
And
crazy.
yeah, and it's not like the run game wasn't working. Fournette was
No,
doing fantastic.
we got 351 passing yards on the day, 60 only 69 rushing yards, but still.
Yeah, but when you needed it, you could definitely get in there.
Yeah, and that's the thing we need to work on the most is our rushing game.
Yeah, just to get it more consistent. These
Like,
little things of Fournette just breaking off for like 8 yards every so often is just not doing it.
I mean, it did it. I mean, he had
It
14 carries for 56 yards, averaging 4 yards per carry. I mean, if you need a first down,
oh yeah.
you're third and, on the line. I mean, that's an option just to give it to Fournette.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is. I would say on a 31, possibly a 3-2, but I wouldn't be going for like a 3-3. Shit, even the 3-2 to would be honest, I don't know if it could hit. I mean, the offensive line, they were moving, they were blocking, even pass block. I mean, Brady got hit a couple times, but
Fournette can not only like carry the ball, he can also catch the ball. He still got
yes,
10 receptions for 83 yards, averaging 8.3.
yep,
All of our
excellent
like
coming out of the backfield.
most of our receivers got a ball minus Kyle Rudolph, which I think he left, didn't he? He was there for like one game and then he's like, I'm out.
Dude, I didn't see him at all, so I don't know what his deal is.
Yeah. Like I think all of our receivers minus Kyle Rudolph saw the ball.
Which is something you expect with Tom Brady, man. He is played so long and he knows the game so well that his checkdowns, he's gonna give it to somebody.
Yeah. Still in the quarter three. The Falcons just cannot get anything going. Leonard Fournette, like we just talked about, had a monster day. Brady threw another like big pass to Evans to get it down at the 1 yard line, which is another thing. I think he got in bounds, not in bounds, but he made the touchdown. He kind of caught the ball and dove out of bounds, and it looks like the ball like crossed the that corner goalpost to
Yeah.
get a touchdown, but the refs called it. Nope, you're down at the one, which whatever, we'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, it's right there, first and one. There's no way you don't come out of this with a touchdown. But
And then we ran a little slant pass to and Fournette got it for the touchdown, and we threw a 2-point conversion. Then we got a 2-point conversion, making the score 0-21.
yeah, that was an interesting play.
What
I
that?
get it. Yeah, you want to make
Well,
it a
you want to?
three.
Yeah,
I
it's a
mean,
three-score game,
it was already a 3-score game. Even if
which
you would have
mean,
just kicked it and
which
got
is
to
a
20.
which is a good thing, coming into
Y-
quarter four.
yes.
The Falcons finally showed up to the game. Even with them showing up to the game, we're still getting like these defensive stops when we need them. We're able to keep them out of like field goal range for a lot of the time. But then they start like getting these long drives down the field, and they got a touchdown.
Now, one thing I liked, and I think that it was really set up in like kind of the third and the beginning of the fourth, right
Mhm.
before the offense started clicking for the Falcons. A lot of the things they knew that the Mariota runs were starting to hurt, and
Yeah,
every time it was always a quarterback read option. It was basically it. I mean, he wasn't gonna run it, but he would hand it off, take a second, and just those delayed handoffs to be able to pull if he needed to. And I saw a number of those. They didn't capitalize anywhere, but I think that was a good way to at least they froze the defense, and I think one of their first touchdowns, if not the second one, was that it was just a little you had the linebacker run in on it with that read option. He pulled it, had that little slant route, and that's what took it all the way to the bank. And I don't remember who it was exactly, but it was a perfect little chess match there.
and then we come up to that really controversial call. What nobody really talks about beforehand is that the refs were, huffing on their crack pipe, and we threw a ball to Mike Evans, and it was a clear pass interference. The defender wasn't looking, pushing him up in the air, grabbing onto him. It was clear as day, right? Clear
Yeah.
pass interference call doesn't get called. Next play, it's fourth and long. We're going for it, right? I can't remember if it was third or if it was fourth. Anyways, we needed the next play, right? Anyways, I think that was a third down. We needed that. It goes to fourth. We're going for it on fourth. And then, we're going for the 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 Falcons get that. They put on the blitz. They get to Brady. They do that roll up, kind of like what happened with Tua, which I think is
Yeah,
part of it. Why it
yeah,
got called because it was almost the same exact thing that happened to Tua. Brady didn't get slammed nearly as hard,
yeah.
but part of it is that we got fucked over on a pass interference call, which roughing the
Which
pass.
honestly is
I'm
why
not
I
gonna
think you
feel
guys got the rough.
I'm not gonna feel bad about missing one call and us getting a shadier one.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna feel bad for Falcons fans. I'm really not. Was it
Oh
a
no.
bad call in the grand scheme of things? Probably. I think it
Oh,
was.
absolutely. But it was. You could complain all day, pass interference or roughing the passer, but the pass interference was what? Almost 25, 30 yards down the field.
Yeah. So in in
So
in the end of the day, that's a 5 yard. Yeah, it's a 5 yard game at automatic first down, but you
yep,
saved yourself some yards.
yep,
But that gave us to the ending where we can just kneel down the ball. We needed that first down so we can just kneel the ball down to stop the game. So I can see where Falcons fans are coming from with it, but in the end, if we got that pass interference call, which it should have been, it 100% should have been, it would have been over anyways.
yeah. The field goal would have been kicked. The touchdown would have got down there. Something would have gave
Like you guys did nothing for
three
three and a,
quarters.
three and a half, like 3 quarters of football, so you can't expect
Exactly.
to come back in the fourth and win. I'm sorry, it doesn't happen all that often.
Right.
But in the end, the game shouldn't have been as close as it was. In that fourth quarter, the Bucks needed to tighten up their defense.
Yeah, especially the run defense, man, getting absolutely demolished up front.
And the refs were absolutely smoking crack this week. Not just with our game, but I think we're not going to talk about the Chiefs and Raiders game, but I
Oh my
know
god.
it was the same thing. It was a roll up
No, it
and
wasn't even a roll up as much as like Derek Carr just got swallowed. You're going
oh,
at it,
yeah, I
big
watched that
man.
one.
He
Let
just
me let me pull it up
and
again.
he kept going. It's not like he laid on him.
Oh, yeah, he did. I just
It,
watched it.
well,
He
you can't say
bounced
that's
the
laying. He
defensive back.
bounced.
He bounced off of him when he
Well,
put his whole weight on him. He hit the ground with him on top of him, and he bounced up. That is. I'm sorry. That by definition is roughing the passer.
yeah,
Do I
you
agree with that?
say
That
this.
should be
Yeah,
running the passer. No,
no,
but
no.
as the rules are written, that
As the
is
rules are
roughing the passer.
written, and even then, I feel like that was still very much a judgmental call. Like he did bounce off of him, but it wasn't as though it was intentionally bouncing off. He was coming at him straight. There's nowhere to go. He hits him. He hugs him. They both go down. What's he supposed to do? Like parent, dive, take the kid out of the way of the car and land on his back? Derek
I don't
Carr
know.
got
I
ate
just know
up
you.
in the
I know you're
pocket.
just not
Too
supposed to
much
put your whole
traffic.
weight on the
Yeah,
quarterback, and that's what definitely happened there.
yeah. I don't think it was a press on weight as much as it was a quick thing. Like I don't think you're allowed to like get and like drive him in.
No,
But
you're not allowed to drive him down either, but you're also not
right,
allowed to take him down and lay on top of him with like your whole body.
yeah. Which is I don't know, man. It's kind of that's unfortunate. I think the name of the game. Now, don't get me wrong, there is unnecessary roughness for that reason, but I don't think that was really there.
You got anything about to say about the Bucks and
Uh,
Falcons?
to be honest, man, Mariota was all over the place. Marcus, he would have a couple good throws, and then he'd kind of just slink back. I don't know if it's miscues. I don't know if it's just timing issues. Uh, I
Yeah, he only
mean,
threw for 147 yards.
yeah,
And I mean, I
uh,
say only, but
yeah. I mean, but he
Tom Brady
only he
still
only
got like
had like
double
half.
over.
Right,
Tom Brady over more than doubled what you had.
right. And then I mean, the running game, they didn't wake up to the fourth quarter. And honestly, it was there all along. I wonder if the Bucks really just kind of relaxed and said, yeah, 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 we don't have to work as hard. We're up by 3 scores. And luckily, the time ran out before Falcons really ended up getting a lot of momentum going. And the roughing the passer call, yeah, whatever, it was a bad call, but it would have been pass interference before that. The game would have definitely been out of reach. You're not getting the onside. It doesn't happen, Rudy. This isn't your Cinderella story. go back to whatever bar you're working at in Philadelphia. Or no, what was the guy?
I think Rudy is from Notre Dame.
Yeah, Rudy's Notre Dame. Who is it? Invincible with whoever the fuck that Philadelphia guy is.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, see, he doesn't even matter. But yeah, no, that was it was a defensive battle up front. Honestly, it just kind of didn't look like you said. Bucks are really sloppy. Falcons just didn't get anything going. It didn't feel like there was anything happening. No, the talent was there, but it wasn't being used for some reason. Yeah.
Talk about not using talent. Let's talk about your game, Cowboys versus Rams.
What are you talking about? Not using talent?
I'm talking more about the Rams.
Oh, that absolutely. I mean, the offensive line for the Rams. Let's start off before everybody's like, "Oh, what?" They're hurt. There's like I think two guards and a center out. That's tough. It's gonna be tough. But
They also don't
okay,
have Odell either with his
yeah,
uh was not hamstring, was it ACL that he tore?
yeah. But injuries are a part of the game. If your coach can't pick up a game plan to see what he's got going on, then
Yeah.
that's on your coach. Sean McVay, you won a Super Bowl. You obviously have something there. Don't tell me it was just all talent
He
that
won
got you there.
2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, yeah. So you can't say it's just talent that got him there. Obviously, he's got some type of head on his shoulders. Here, the only thing I could see, I don't know if he's defensive minded because the only time that I mean, and the Cowboys also have some injuries. Tyron Smith, our veteran lineman, left tackle, went down before the season even started, training camp. So we got, I guess, his kid. I think he's also, I don't know what his name is, but Collins, I think also, and or Smith rather, or it might be Collins, whatever, it don't matter. Anyway, we got a rookie starting on our blind side. And that's where we're getting hit. That's why Ezekiel lines up to it, especially they started running that kind of back chip block later in the game when Rush was starting to get hit. And Rush got hit a lot. Offensive line was decent for the most part, but that is a high powered defensive line. I only really know Donald, and he only showed up maybe twice in the entire game. He was a threat. He did kind of have to make us grit up back to kind of make sure to chip and do all that stuff, but I don't know, man. He wasn't the Aaron Donald that he should have been.
I don't know what happened to Cooper Rush. He only threw for 102 yards. What's up with that?
Man, let me tell you. I
Were
don't
you
know
guys
what it was.
running it most of the time? It doesn't
Yeah,
even
but
look
there
like
were
it
some
though.
throws. There were some big drops, both on both sides. Gallup drops a huge ball that could have gone for about 20, 25, depending on if he made a man miss. A lot of it was Rush kind of floating the ball. And I don't know, he just has this kind of like light throw. He wants to make the ball seem as though it's effortless. There was only a couple times that he actually zipped it in. I mean, like I said, there was only like two. I can't find it, but it was only like two real zips on the ball. There was no mustard on these hot dogs he's serving up to the receivers. One thing, man, again, the defense for the Cowboys. One thing I saw that this week that was major. They wrapped up. They didn't just try and make the hit. Now we do have, I believe it's not Anthony Brown. It's another guy. He's younger that was still trying to go for the big hits. You know that college. Oh, we'll just knock the ball out of their hands type thing. And it hurt us on a couple plays, but for the most part, they were doing very well. The Cowboys are still doing are very comfortable with having their safeties and cornerbacks cover that edge and getting around these tight ends, and it works out for the most part. Here, I think it really did. I think the Rams even had a injured tight end, if I'm not mistaken, and they had to bring in this guy. I don't even remember what his name was. He did wasn't much of anything. I keep wanting to call him Goff. Matthew Stafford. Man, the first thing that happens, first drive, I think it's the third down, he gets strip sacked, and it just it that there go that's the way the day started. That was the tempo that was set. The defensive line went through, was just cutting through every single play, and they weren't just bull rushing. They were actually getting in there, making plays, using stunts, bringing in blitzes, different schemes. Dan Quinn is excellent with this, especially when he knows that the O-line is so messed up that the running game for the Rams is pretty much going to be non-existent because those O-line can't move people, and they're just not fast enough. I know they're thinking here they're just too big. They don't. They're just too big and too slow. So you can't even bring him in to try and pull. It doesn't really work out. Uh, Special teams, man, that was a big factor in this game. So our long snapper got hurt. What's his name? I couldn't tell you. He's the long snapper. You just know when he's not there. There was that bobbled. I believe it was. I can remember if it was a field goal or a punt. I need to write better notes. And yeah, it was an issue. You don't think it ever will be until it is. Now, good things on it though. The blocked punt, that was huge. And that just goes to show how much of the special teams is really coming into play, especially for everyone around the league. There's a lot more field goal misses, a lot more extra point misses. I mean, there's no Devin Hester's out there returning forever, but I mean, 10, 15 yards is all you really need. Shit, even 10 yards is a great punt return without having them be absolutely blown up. Uh, on the offensive side, like I said, Rush, I don't know what he's doing, man. He feels like he's floating them in there. He's got a lot of confidence in the receivers, which is great. But I mean, you got to get it to your man. I get you're trying to see and try and catch him on the fly, but on these curl routes, there is no stride. You have to hit them when you hit them. And you taking a minute is just giving any excuse me, any secondary a chance to go up and make a play on that ball, get their head around. And that's going to be an issue. I mean, it just is. The more time it's up in the air, the less pass interference plays you're going to get. We have a lot of speedy receivers, and I get you want to hit them in stride, but you have to hit them. Elliott, he's doing better. Much better than last week. Problem is, he still wants the contact.
I was going to ask you when you're going to trade Ezekiel Elliott, because this whole past year, he hasn't really done anything.
Yeah, because he just wants to slime in.
How much capital is he taking up?
Dude, a lot. I think he's like the third most paid guy on the team. And like he was doing better. Like I said, he was actually finding seams, showing his footwork instead of just driving in behind. The problem is I think he's way too impatient. And I think he's also trying to get back like this first 2-3 years in the league where he could just find something and go. But you're older now. You haven't really lost a step. You're still pretty young in your career. But you keep hitting, and sure, it'll work out in the third, fourth quarter. Steelers and Jerome Bettis and all that bullshit. But you got to find the right thing, man. Nothing's more demoralizing than a 15-yard run. Yeah. You hit them for 3 plays, and they get the stop. Well, they switch out defensive linemen just like everybody else in the league. They'll just pull somebody out. They'll bring in a blitz to help out whenever you're in there. But he did have a few times where he did try and split the seam. He got up, he high-stepped, brought his knees up to his chest, really tried to get something going. But every time he did, as soon as he could, he would drive his shoulder down and try and run through a linebacker, run through a safety. And he's fast enough, and he's strong enough that he doesn't really have to make enough of a move, just put the bad angle on. And he knows that. He knows how to be a good running back. But, I don't know, I feel like he's gotten kind of complacent with that. The run game did well for the Rams with Akers, but as soon as there was a stop, there was a couple plays, 1, 2, 3, they were doing well. And then defense makes a slight adjustment, Dallas does, and they stop it, and immediately they lose all momentum with it. And you have to keep trying it, especially when you have someone like Akers. He's a great running back. You need to move him around. You can't just keep hitting the same holes. You weren't running enough to the outside. And I get it. We have some speedy guys out there, and you have a lot of slow front ends. But you got to get the mismatch. You have to just get the numbers game at the end of the day. And that's just a basic offense. I mean, that's not even a scheme. That's just, hey, there's 3 people over there. I have 4 rushers. Or 4 blockers. I'm definitely running that way. Pollard, again, great running back. He finds a seam, and he doesn't care. It's fine for Pollard to hit a linebacker. It's fine for Pollard to run into a safety because he's constantly getting 5 or 6 yards. But he always turns it upfield when he needs to. When he knows that there's going to be more than... If he knows he's only got 1 or 2 guys to beat, he'll move past the linebacker. He'll try and juke it before he runs out to the safety. Big drops on both sides. Cooper Cup dropped a couple. Michael Gallup dropped a big one that I talked about a little earlier. It was like at least 10, 15 yards. Could have been more if he just made one guy miss. One thing that I saw, and I should have brought this up in the special teams little segue, but the punt returner for the Rams kept fucking hitting. I don't know if you know the term, the gunners.
No, I don't.
Okay, so you know how in the punt formation there's two guys on the kicking team that
Yeah.
line up wide? Those are what are called gunners, and they just go out there and they try and destroy, just to absolutely tattoo the returner.
Yeah, okay.
But so every time that would happen, they'd kick the ball, and then they would run up. Well, they can't see it. They only heard the kick. They don't know where the ball is. They're not looking for it. They're trying to get past the people that are trying to block them and try and take out this returner. Now, the first time that the returner did it, and I don't remember who it was, the return man, because returner sounds dumb. He hits one of the fucking guys. Like the ball sails over his head, and it doesn't go into the end zone. And he just decides to fucking hit one of the gunners because the gunners are looking at him. They think it's just a fair catch or whatever it is. And I guess that's where the kind of rule comes in. He might have fair caught it, like put his hand up, but I didn't see that. He just decided to try and hit one of the guys as the return man. And they did call a penalty on it the first time. But the
Hmm.
second time when they kicked it and it went into the end zone, they didn't call it. And I wonder if it was just because they think that if it only is a penalty if it impacts the way the game would have been played. But that's just something that I don't feel is right. Like, what's stopping that guy from shot blocking? You know, what's stopping him? Well, I guess that would be clipping. But what's stopping him from just lighting up the gunners because he knows where they're going. They're slowing down to try and get the hit. He's not even he doesn't because you know how when they're about to catch the ball, they get in position. He's just standing there, hands at his side. He knew he was gonna make the hit, like halfway, not even halfway
Well,
through the punt.
did he move from his spot or no?
Yes, he moved from his spot and made it a point to hit the attack.
Okay, because I didn't watch your game. The only
Yeah.
thing I could say is if he didn't move from his spot, he has a right to that space, and if your dude is running into that for whatever reason, he has a right to physically protect his space.
Yeah. Well, they were playing in LA, not Texas, so I don't know if the stand your ground law, the protect your castle applied here.
I'm
But
not
to
talking
me,
about
he
like your
definitely
stand
took
your
a
ground law. I'm talking
yeah, he
about
definitely took a step to hit. It wasn't just like he was hitting.
oh, so he only took a step. He didn't like run at him.
No, no, no. But he wasn't even trying to catch the ball. There was no reason for the gunner to go at him and hit him. So the gunner's coming off, knowing that the ball is probably sailed over him because there's no way he's just gonna. Even if he does, if he just fakes it.
You
But
do
what's
realize
stopping? Go
kickoff
ahead.
is free ball, right? No one has when the
No,
ball is kicked off. There technically no one has possession.
no, the punt.
Oh, it's a punt.
Yes, on the
Yeah,
punts.
even on a punt, no one technically has possession after the ball's kicked off.
Right.
If your team
So, but there's
if
no
your team
like
recaptures the punt, right?
the play's dead.
No, you get the. I'm pretty. Don't you get the ball back?
No, if they decide not to go for the ball, the play's dead. That's why that's like I don't know if you ever heard the term Peter. Whenever there's a punt, I
It's
don't know
fine.
if
You
you
can
ever
get
heard that.
the ball back if you don't touch the punt and it's still in bounds.
Only if they don't. Only if someone else touches it from the other team. But haven't you ever seen it where like the ball will just hit and it'll just
Like I
be
know
on
if
the
it goes
floor?
to the end zone, it becomes like a touchback.
Right. But have you ever seen punts where they just let it sail over their head and then they jump into the end zone to throw it back and then someone catches it at like the one
I've only seen that on kickoffs, but yeah.
on kick? You've seen somebody run all the way down and stop it from going. It's way
Yeah.
more common with the punt.
I'm also not paying attention all that well when the punt is going because it's like a whole other game attached to the. It's like we're playing rugby when we're punting away footballs.
Yes. And for the most part, a lot of the special teams in football don't matter. But for whatever reason, this week or this year and the last 2 years, it's been a major thing, and I don't know why.
Yeah, there was a couple of punt returns. I can't remember which. I think it was on the. Yeah, I think it was on the Saints and Seahawks game where there's a couple big field goal, kickoff returns or punt returns.
Yeah, No, like I said, that was just it's just something that made me mad. Maybe it's not a penalty. Maybe it's just like an unspoken rule, like, hey, I won't light you up, you won't light me up. Just because it went over your head. I'm not gonna do that because if the Gunners would have done that, it would have definitely been a penalty.
Oh yeah.
But when he does it, even if it does go into the end zone, they don't know that. That's not a thing that happens unless you're gonna have them start looking up. But I feel like that's just gonna bring in more issues. I don't know. It didn't seem right to me.
You have to look up for the ball when you're trying to like block when the cornerbacks are trying to block the receivers. Because if you don't, you make contact with them.
Then
That's
that's pass
pass
interference.
interference.
Yeah, but is there kick? There's no kicking interference or catching interference.
I don't think so. That's why kicking is so weird in football.
Yeah, it is interesting. Anyway, off of that tangent, somebody else would be like, "Yeah, that is bullshit," or someone's gonna be like, "That's just the game, man." Whatever. It might be part of the game, but it's a really shitty thing to do. Uh, Beginning of the third goes pretty well. Uh, Big catch from Gallup. He actually shows some concentration, doesn't drop it like he did in that first half. And it was just one really. But Michael Gallup doesn't drop. He's Michael Gallup. He's our number one now that he's back. I mean, CD Lamb's still our number one because he's our best target because he's moving around so much and he's usually open because he's running those kinds of routes. But still, uh, I don't know what tight end is it, or I don't know why it's always the tight end for the Cowboys. But every time we run to the outside, there's a holding penalty half the time on the tight end, and I'm pretty sure it's Hendershot because I think it happened twice this game, and I think it happened a couple times in the last game, and those were big runs. There were 7, 8 yards. Shit, one of them even went for about 15, and they got called back. And you're looking at him like, dude, just stop. You're just supposed to seal the edge. I get it, but work on your footwork, or just put a body in there. Stop grabbing. Field goal for the Rams to miss to start the
Hold on.
fourth.
No,
What's up?
hold on. Going back to your stop grabbing. Didn't you say last week that there's always pass interference, there's always holds. You just have to know to get away with it. So are you
No, but
walking that statement back, or are you just being salty because it keeps happening to you?
no. So like, okay, no, you're right. Holding and pass interference always happen, but there's a difference. I mean, I'm not getting mad. No, he definitely was holding 100%. I want to make sure that that's clear. Like,
Oh yeah, because I'm
I'm
with
just
you. Because
mad at
pass
him that he keeps
interference
fucking
and
doing it.
holding on the line, it always happens. It's just I guess at the ref's discretion if it interfered with the game way too much.
Or if it's super obvious, the way it always is with this guy. I don't know why, but he likes to have this bulldog type of fucking blocking where his
Is he
elbows
like
go wide and then he
is he
goes
like
wide with his hand.
is he like grabbing onto their jerseys and like looks like he's shaking them down for their lunch money?
No, because technically that's legal. If you're within the shoulder pads, you're keeping them squared
No,
up
I'm
with you.
like in the chest. Like you know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about? Like you're not allowed to like grab their jersey in the chest. I'm talking or not talking about on the shoulders. I'm talking like in the chest where like
yeah. I mean,
on the
that's
collar.
technically the sweet spot. I mean, don't grab them and don't.
Grabbing them into their on their collar is the
But
sweet
yeah,
spot. That is a hold that
well,
is a
no, you want to
holding
get
penalty.
you want to
That's
get
what I'm
under.
asking you.
Okay, technically yes, it's a holding, but it's only holding if they get away and they get turned away from you. If you can grab them, drive them, pick them up, kind of get under them, and you can hold right there. Well, yeah, you really can't. But if it looks like they have no way to get away from you and you are overpowering them, that's where you get away with that. But the issue is he always wraps around the arm trying to seal that edge. And once you go to the outside, it's holding 9 times out of 10. Well, 10 times out of 10. That's an obvious you're grabbing him, you are stopping him from going a certain way. That is holding. And then defensive lines for the Rams didn't do well. They were attacking that week left, but it was just way too inconsistent. I think there was only like 2 sacks from something that should have been way more, especially on that one side. And they were way too spaced. They were spaced way too far away. The linebackers weren't coming up. I mean, Rush wasn't. He's not a major air threat. He can throw it, and when he throws it, and that's when he gives it some air. That's fine. That's when we need him to. Not in the quick 5 yard routes. So those linebackers could definitely play up. But they were just way too. The play for the defensive line for the Rams was way too inconsistent. They're way too spaced apart. Pollard can run right through them, and the O line just moves them through. They have such great chemistry, and it's just a great offensive line. And I hope that they're paid everything they do. Rams, I think they just kind of stuck to their game plan. They didn't make a lot of adjustments. It looked like to me they just kept going for what they wanted and hoping that something was going to break in the Dallas defense.
It, it looks like 9 times out of 10, Cooper Rush is going to target, not Cooper Rush, I'm sorry. Matthew Stafford targets Cooper Cup.
Oh yeah, every time,
And if you
every
shut
time.
down Cooper Cup, you basically have won the game. You've taken
Yeah.
away like half of the 90% of the Rams throws.
Oh yeah. And with the pressure, Stafford really couldn't get. He couldn't. What's the word? Compensate
Yeah,
for the receiver's lack of running skills or route
so
running skills.
he threw for 308 yards. He only completed 28 of 42, which is like 55%, which is
Yeah,
not
and
great.
a lot of them were just big plays. Or I think Cooper Rush or not Cooper Cooper Cup gave him like 60 yards on a little inseam route, and those quick throws they keep getting Dallas every single time. Especially when you know that linebacker on the outside is going to blitz, that's exactly where you throw it every time. Some final thoughts on this. Dallas needs to make sure that they're keeping that one side clean on the offensive line. You have to have a back chip block if you're going to pass it. Ezekiel Elliott needs to be out there trying to get that chip block, and he has no problem with it. He'll definitely hit somebody. He'll chop someone down, and that's great. But if he's going to do that, here's the issue. He's not great coming out of the backfield, and I don't think he went out of the backfield once for a reception. And even if he did, it didn't matter because they weren't going to throw it to him, and that was a good move. Michael Parsons got hurt kind of in the mid third. I mean, I don't think it was a major injury because he was right back in, like 2, 3 drives later. But he needs to stay healthy, man. And I get this is a game that we kind of have to win, but with a battered up offensive line like that and a defensive line and linebackers that can play horizontal as well as vertical if they do need a drop bag, I don't think there was a good reason for him to jump in. I think he should have been sat. I think he should have stayed warm on the sidelines, but I don't think he should have went back in. As for the Rams, they have to make sure that their line, they have to figure something out. If your line can't block, hit the short throws. If your line is better on the left than the right, do some rollouts. Some delayed handoffs to slow down the blitz. You got to do something to make sure that you're giving your offensive line the best time or the best opportunity to block for you. Another thing, I don't know if they're an emotional team or what, but they do well on a good break when they actually catch a break. But as soon as it gets stopped or they have one or two bad plays, it's over. They can't get that momentum back. That's basically as soon as you stop their first little, honeymoon phase when they get back on the field, they're not going anywhere. Now, Cup is their superstar, and they do have some good receivers, and they have Matthew Stafford back there that can put the ball where he needs to when he has time. But they don't really have any running back. Like there's no run game to them. I think that they need to either have the running back come out. They need to have their tight end. I mean, the tight end was doing really well. I think Higbee, he was doing very well. And when they were hitting him consistently on the checkdowns, that's when they were really getting some momentum and going. But again, their momentum dies as soon as there's one or two bad plays. So overall, like I said, I didn't think Dallas was going to win, mainly because I thought that the defensive line would be way too much to handle, especially on that side with the rookie. But they didn't attack it nearly as much. And I don't know if there's a gentleman's agreement, but it didn't seem like the Cowboys were the way they were absolutely taking Stafford to prom.
Um, I think if Dak comes back next week and he's, you know, absolute garbage, I think you just bench him the rest of the year. Let him recover with his hand, I
Yeah.
guess, and you just
Uh,
let um Cooper Rush finish out the season.
yeah, because right now Dak is currently starting to put some
Theor-
actual reps in practice. But if he doesn't have
Yeah,
the same zip, and that's really the difference.
because theoretically he can come back next week. Um,
I would sit him one more week.
yeah,
I
your
don't see
next
him. I don't.
game
Yeah, I'm trying to look now.
is the Eagles,
Yeah,
which I don't
and our
know.
defense is gonna win out. The Eagles
Yeah,
secondary
Eagles
is
haven't played a
not
real
great.
football team yet this year, so
Right.
if you really want to count the Cardinals, which I don't.
Not really, because all they have to do, and we'll get into that game and how they shut down the Cardinals. I was very excited to see the Eagles play because I saw them last week, but I fucking hate the Eagles, so I was just talking mad shit. But I have a much more intelligent argument for them this week.
Speaking about birds, let's talk about Seahawks and Saints.
Ooh, one of those is a bird. I'll give you one guess.
Um, Geno Smith threw for 268 yards. He completed 16 out of his 25 passes. And the two QBs that played for this game for the Saints threw for 209 yards and completed 17 out of 25 passes. And what I mean by two QBs, I mean Taysom Hill, who had a
Yes.
monster game. And honestly, they should just let him be the quarterback over
Dalton.
Mr. Red Rifle.
Yeah, because I don't know, they bought the wrong ammo, or he's just got a rusted receiver. The man ain't shooting like he used to.
No. Uh, Taysom Hill rushed 9 yard rushed he had 9 carries, rushed for 112 yards. He averaged about 12.4. He got 3 touchdowns on the day, which
Yeah,
that's a fantastic game.
yeah, and didn't he throw for a touchdown?
He did throw for a touchdown.
Yeah, is that accounting his 3 touchdowns?
Yeah, that is. That's counting his
Okay,
3 touchdowns.
yeah,
Um, Alvin Kamara
Kamara, man.
had 23 carries for 103 yards. He averaged about 4.5 yards per carry.
Yeah, and they were stopping him in the beginning, but I don't know, I can't remember who the coach is for the Saints, but he was confident with Kamara coming in and really putting it down. They kept
Yeah,
feeding him, and it worked.
yeah, he had, I think I already said it, yeah, he had 6 receptions, right?
Yeah,
And what was he rushing? He had 23 carries. So, yeah, in total he had 194 yards on the day.
something like that with his receptions. Yeah, he had a great game.
DK Metcalf was the first to score for the Seahawks with a nice 50-yard pass from Geno Smith. Um, Saints first drive down to the field led to a field goal, put 3 on the board. Then the Seahawks get stuffed at the 56-yard line, kick a field goal, putting the total at 10-3. And then Taysom Hill comes in, has his first rushing touchdown of the day, and they kicked another field goal to tie the game to 10-10. Or no, I'm sorry, they didn't kick another field goal. They had the field goal, and then so yeah, they tied the game at the end of the second quarter, 10-10. Then Geno Smith gets sacked. Saints get the ball back, but they squander it, and the Saints punt it in. Saints punt it away. Seahawks go for a fake punt rush. They try to run the ball on a fake punt, but the punter hesitated, and he fumbled the ball, and the Saints recovered it on the 20-yard line. Hill then runs the ball into the end zone, and Saints take the lead at 10-17.
No, you're
Pass to
fine.
Alvin Kamara is turned into a forced fumble and is recovered by the Saints. I think I wrote that backwards. It's recovered by the Seahawks.
I believe so.
And
Yeah.
and then Geno throws a 35-yard bomb pass to Lockett, and the Seahawks take
Yeah.
the lead to 19-17.
Tyler Lockett, man, I didn't see really anything from him last week, and then here he is really showing up in this one, leading receiver. And I think it was because DK Metcalf was just taking so much heat for him. Because Metcalf reminds me of kind of like a Megatron, man, like a Calvin Johnson. He's tall, he can put a move on you, he's fast. Just a great receiver overall
And then DK Metcalf fumbled the ball,
until that
and
happens.
Saints recover that. And Andy Dalton throws a 15, 20-yard pass to Glaive, and they get a touchdown, and then the score is back to the Saints, 19-24. And Dalton throws an interception the last 5 minutes of the third quarter. Seahawks don't do anything with it, and they punt it away. Alvin Kamara gets a big yards on a screen pass and finally goes out to the 23-yard line. Taysom Hill only pass of the game is a touchdown to Adam Troutman, and the score is now 19-31. Early in the fourth quarter, Geno Smith throws a 40-yard touchdown again to Lockett, and they attempt a 2-point conversion and they fail, and the score is 25-31.
Now, did you agree with the 2 point there?
Um, not that early in the fourth quarter. If you were later in the fourth quarter and you needed it, like maybe at like the, I don't know, like 8 to 7 minute mark, yes, but not for that early. Just take your point and go.
Yeah, because what's the play here? So let's say they get it. It's 27-31. They're still four down. I mean, I guess they're hoping for the next. They don't
It
want that field goal to come through. They really had.
it would have been 33
Oh, 33. My
to
bad.
it would have been 33 to 31. So yeah, I don't know what the deal was with their 6 plus yeah 8 25 plus 8 would be yeah 30.
Are you sure you're reading the right one?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, so 25, right. So they missed the 2 point. They're at 20. They're at 19. They scored the touchdown. It's now 25.
Yeah.
Now, that's still a one score game. Now, don't get me wrong, they can definitely get that field goal, or the Saints could have gotten the field goal for the go ahead in the last minutes. And I guess it was early enough. So I don't know. Actually, I think the 2 point conversion was probably the best thing to do here with that much time left. Because Dalton is an experienced quarterback and he knows how to waste the clock.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. The Seahawks then get a big stop on that drive, and then they get a big run from Kenneth Walker, and yeah, see, and then they just scored right immediately. So,
Yeah.
the score is now 32 to 31. Then they get Taysom Hill back in there. The man rushes the ball into the end zone for 60 yards.
Oh man. I
Uh, the
dude.
score is now 32 to 39 after a successful 2 point conversion. Yeah, that man basically put the uh Saints on his back and carried him.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Taysom
Um,
Hill was definitely the MVP of the game. 100%.
just make that man the quarterback, and you'll be doing much better.
I mean, he played quarterback in like college or high school. I think there was a reason why they were comfortable with him taking snaps.
Yeah, I don't know the exact reason why. I've never heard of him until today.
Oh wow, yeah, he's always been he's been consistent. So he's like a you wouldn't know the place, but he's like Rudy's barbecue.
He's a tight
Always
end.
good, sometimes great.
He was
Taysom,
undrafted. Yeah, yeah, he's a tight end and a utility player for the New Orleans Saints.
yeah,
He played college ball for BYU. He joined the Saints in 2017 as an undrafted free agent. This
you wouldn't
man is
think it the way
like
it is.
a Swiss Army knife.
Oh yeah, and they've
And
used him a
then
number of times as a quarterback as well. It's not like it's his first.
and then the next Seahawks drive, Geno gets sacked. Saints get the ball, ice the game for the win. Saints had large holes in their backfield, allowing Geno to throw like these large passes, these bombs out there. But
Yeah,
the Seahawks got worn down and they couldn't contain the Saints running game forever either. So
yeah. Yeah, and it wasn't even like Kamara was just jamming it in Ezekiel Elliott style. He was making moves and he was hitting people and he was doing the things you need to do to make bad angles for the defenders to tackle you. And then with
yeah,
his strength, just pushing people down. And that's probably why they went for that 2 point conversion early on. The Seahawks did
yeah,
because they knew that with the running game of the Saints, there was going to be a lot of time taken off. So at least with that, they would maybe have enough time with Geno and the Saints secondary being like it was last week, just very loose, very cushioned.
it was a very much back and forth game.
Yeah,
Like no one team had total control over the field. No one really commanded a lead.
yeah.
Speaking of commanding leads and commanders, let's talk about Titans and Commanders.
Ooh, okay. Yep, got it right here. Titans, man. I'm trying to remember if I had the Commanders for last week. I think I did. And the reason why is because the
Double.
Titans aren't doing great. Uh, Tannehill is back there, just another journeyman quarterback. The offensive line for the Titans was getting their ass sat down faster than a shitty kid in church.
You
And
did have
Tannehill,
Commanders for last week.
yep, because I knew it, man. The Titans weren't gonna get anywhere. Tannehill is gonna be gets turned into a Tanner plateau. But
You
here's the
said
thing.
You said, just to clarify, you said 14-17 going to the Commanders. I said 17-17 and then tying up the game, which
Ooh.
kind of almost happened, but
Yeah.
I digress.
Yeah. Now the Commanders, they only have one type of defensive rush, and that is the bull rush. Uh Issue is Tannehill doesn't get out of the way. There's big holes that he definitely could have gotten out of, but they just got like they got Ron Whited, which I don't know if you know, but he was a defensive tackle, and he would just grab you and he'd just drive you back, and he would make you sack your own quarterback with your ass. That was his rush. Like legitimately, that was what he would do. He would just move people through. Uh, Now, one thing I did see is I don't know if they thought this was just a throwaway game for the Commanders, but they went back to the game plan that they had the first 3 weeks before they ran it to the Cowboys. And then last week they changed it up. But for the first 3 weeks, they went back to that kind of like we're all right to make those long balls, sit on the pocket a little bit, have Wentz roll out. We just give him more freedom. And you could see it. He wasn't as frustrated. His throws were a little more under control. I wouldn't say much more. I mean, mental is a big play in the game, but I don't think that his mentality was going to get them to win. Uh, Biggest thing, as I'm writing these notes, the ball is changing hands so goddamn fast in the first quarter. I couldn't type fast enough. And I have 65 words a minute with 95% accuracy, and the Google Doc automatically corrects. So I don't even go back for shit. The first quarter is just a battle of the Thunder Thigh punters. That's what it was. Uh, and then they have Henry, Derrick Henry, I believe his name is. I don't remember his first one, something with a D.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a good running back, but like I said last week, he didn't really produce. This week he didn't again. The issue was the defensive line is just running in, and they're establishing the line of scrimmage 2 yards into the backfield, and Henry doesn't even have a second to make us to stop and cut. He's just getting hit back there and trying to find a hole, which for the most part would have been great, but they're crashing in and they're crashing in down towards the quarterback. So the only hole is outside. Now, when you can't make the stop and cut, he's not speedy as much as he is fast and agile, if that makes any sense. He can do a move, but I don't expect him to go, hit the 40 type thing. I just don't think he has that in him anymore. Now, big issue with that type of blitz scheme, which it wasn't even a blitz scheme, is that it takes away a lot of the intuition of being a good defensive lineman. And that was obvious when there were a lot of screens that were, as long as they weren't too obvious, where it was like, oh, you're obviously going to throw in here. You've done it every time on 3rd down and 4. They got away with it. And it was a major ball mover for them. The center, man, for the Commanders, twice. 2 bad, well, 1 bad snap. The other one, it looks like it bounces off of Wentz's fingers. I don't know if he just snaps it way too fast. But there wasn't anything going with that first drive when it happened, so it was fine. But in the second quarter, I believe it is, or at the end of the first quarter, they had some momentum, man. I really thought they were going to be able to score and start putting this team away. But that bad snap hits the ground. Wentz freaks out, doesn't try and look up. I don't even think it was a pass play. Or a run play. I definitely think that it was just supposed to be a running back chip and then kind of zone out. Instead, he tries gunning for it because he sees everybody coming at him, that's not what you do, man. You pick that ball up and you try and keep running the game plan and throw it out of bounds when you need to. I mean, that's just how it's supposed to work.
Now, when you were watching this game, was it one of those games where it's like both teams are scared to win?
Yeah, no, this one was tough to watch.
Yeah, I figured.
And it wasn't fun. I mean, the Commanders' defense was nice. It was like if you're a Commanders fan, it was fun, but only on defense. For the offense, they still having a lot of trouble. But I don't know if there's just no weapons for Wentz to use. Wentz doesn't look comfortable at all back there, and it's the same game plan from the first 3 weeks. So I wonder if he was kind of getting into a rhythm last week, and then he kind of fell apart this week because they moved it yet again. As soon as he got comfortable, they pulled him, or as soon as he got out, they pulled him right back in. Uh, they tried using stunts on the blitz scheme for the Commanders, but they're not they're not agile runners. They're slow power linemen, and the bull rush should have just stuck with them. The secondary for the Titans, man, garbage. They were making Wentz look like a star quarterback, but every time you saw any play, they weren't going for the ball. They were playing way off, which is why they didn't get the pass interference calls. I mean, they looked like they were getting every time there was a play, it looked as though they were being trailed, as though the receiver was the parent, and they were just getting pulled by them in the wagon at the park. That's how bad it was. Tannehill is getting lit up almost every play. He's pressured on every drop back. He does throw a couple long balls, just kind of throwing it out there. I wondered, to me, it didn't look like it was he saw anything. He was just like, hey, let's go for the moon. Uh, and Henry finally punches it in for a touchdown there in the mid third, but it's a lot of discipline penalties, man. A lot of like pre snaps, false starts, delay game. It's just they didn't seem like they had any awareness. There was awareness, but it just didn't seem like they wanted to get in there. Tennessee defense didn't wake up until the fourth quarter, and man, I don't know what it was. They hung on to most of the lead despite their lack of communication, the miscues, or just lost in the sauce players. I don't know. They give up the touchdown. There was an issue. There was a play, and I'm not gonna. I'll admit it. It was close in real time, but there was a challenge by Rivera, the coach's commander, and they didn't have a touch. They didn't have a timeout at the end, and that's what hurt them there. That if they would have had one timeout to get it going, I think they could have gotten in field goal range. Maybe something could have happened. At least maybe a good shot towards the end zone. At least one or two. But that bad challenge, and I don't know if he did it himself. He thought he called somebody upstairs, and they were like, "Hey, you have to challenge this." But it wasn't looking good. My final thoughts for this: Titans need to start blocking, get their guys in the weight room, start feeding them something. Just start feeding them cornmeal. Fucking bulk them up. Just have them be 380 pounds to where they don't get thrown around as easy as they're going to be. The secondary was nothing more than some dude just standing out in a field going, I guess the crops will be coming in good this year. Like, that's all they were. Henry, they need to get him going. And they're not going to get him going until they either change up their offensive line or they start running more to the outside, bringing in tight ends, or they start pulling. I know there was a couple plays where they pulled a guard, and that went okay, but they need to keep it going. Yeah, Commanders. The game plan works only if it's an adaptation of the original. I think that they were running a new offense, going back to going back to their old one. They were trying to incorporate a lot. I think it was too much of a hybrid, and it didn't look anything like either one. And that was the issue. Now, the only reason why I think they were able to really take it was because they're playing against the 28th best pass defense in the league. And they're tied for that spot. Because I'm pretty sure that there's 32, and I think 4 teams are tied for the 28th spot.
No one's in last place. It's just a tie for third to last place.
Yeah. Like, the secondary is like Hershey squirting through a screen door. They're going right through them. There's nothing there. The Commanders' defense is doing well. I wouldn't really say it's for talent, even though they do have some, but it was definitely a lack of talent for the offensive line on the Titans side.
Yeah, I'm nothing much to say about this game. Both teams kind of suck ass. Commanders are last in the NFC East.
Which I've been saying this for years. The NFC East is it's been the smartest of the held back kids. You know what I mean? There's not, you're the smart guy, but you're playing in your own league.
You're the smart kid on the short bus.
Exactly. That's basically it. You're the kid with the Yu-Gi-Oh cards when everybody else was playing, I don't know. Magic. Literally, Magic. Shit, in that case, I would say Pokemon, because at least Pokemon's easier to follow. Like, that's what they're doing. They're the greatest Pokemon trainers, while everybody's out here running multicolored decks.
I don't know. Pokemon nowadays is kind of turning into Yu-Gi-Oh, where everyone runs like four monster cards in their deck, and everything else is just draw cards and energies. So
How far from great? You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain.
yeah, exactly. Speaking of villains, the
Ooh.
49ers absolutely
Ah.
demolished the Panthers.
Oh, dude.
Like it was a beatdown. It was a it was a beatdown in Carolina. So bad that the Panthers fired their head coach Matt Rule on
Yeah.
the Monday after.
Yeah. Which I'm surprised it waited that long. I mean, he
Yeah,
knew he was fired. I would have been like, fuck it, might as well use that last check to go drinking because it's over.
he might as well brought Cam Newton back for another game.
Yeah.
Um, Baker got injured during the game, but he came back in the second half, so there's really nothing to worry about there for the Panthers fans. Jimmy Garoppolo, I mean, we'll see. He might be out next week, depending on how his ankle turns out. Uh,
Yeah.
Jimmy G threw for 253 yards, completed 18 out of his 30 passes, so that's again around
60.
55,
Yeah.
55
55, 60.
percent. And then the two Panthers QBs together, they threw for 265 yards, completed 25 out of 42 completions. So that again is 55, like a 55%.
Yeah.
With Baker Mayfield throwing one interception.
Yeah.
Jeffrey
No, he should
Wilson.
have just stayed home.
Jeffrey Wilson. I've never heard of this guy till
Same.
Sunday. Had 17 carries for 120 yards, averaging 7.1 yards per carry. The Panthers allowed 6 sacks during the game, so it was a great day to be a Panthers fan, I guess.
And at this point, I know it's pretty early in the season, but are they already trying for like the first round draft pick next season? Is that already happening?
I don't know what the fuck is going on with the Panthers. Even then, the 49ers more than doubled the Panthers in penalty yards. The 49ers had 50 penalty yards. Well, the Panthers only had 33.
Now, how
So
many penalties did they actually have though? Was it just like some pass
the
interferences?
49ers had 9 and the Panthers had
Ah,
5.
okay. Yikes.
So, yeah, it was not a good day to be a Panthers fan. Um,
No.
49ers first possession of the game, Jeffrey Wilson had a beautiful 45-yard run that was then thrown to Talvin Coleman for a touchdown, and the 49ers taking an early lead. And then, the Panthers showed up, got stuffed, punted, which is basically the story of like half their drives.
Yeah.
A pass was thrown by the 49ers, which is forced out and recovered by the Panthers. They turned that into a missed field goal. Uh, End of the first quarter, the 49ers are kind of taking it slow, and they're only up 7-0. And then they pick up a field goal, and it's 10-0. Panthers get a decent drive up the field, turns it into a field goal. And it turns into a soccer game where the 49ers try to make a field goal, but it's blocked, and the Panthers grab it. Baker throws an interception in the last seconds of the second quarter, and they get a pick six from it. By the halftime, the 49ers have just kind of controlled the game, and it's 17-3. And then, here we go. The kickoff return at the beginning of the third quarter, Blackshear for the Panthers, he gets a big return for 45 yards, giving them great field position.
Nice.
And they finally get a decent drive with a combo of like the great return, a good pass from Baker, and McCaffrey finally being able to kind of do something. They burst through the 49ers and they get a touchdown, but they go for a 2-point conversion and it fails. So the game's now 17-9.
Which is
Jet,
wild to me. I don't know if I would have gone for it. The offense is not
I
working. I would have just
I'd
taken the kick.
take your point and think about what you're gonna do next.
Yeah, because at this point, it's just we're going ties or wins.
Yeah. at this point. Uh, Jennings gets a big run, throwing off a Panther defender and pushes his way through the 4-yard line where Jimmy G throws to Debo, and the score's now 24-9. And then, like, again, Blackshear gets another amazing kick return and nearly breaks away, but the 49ers kicker stops it with his body by getting ran over, and it trips him up, and he stops the run. That man took a hit and a half, but it
Oh,
tripped the man up, and it took him down. He
that's
didn't.
all he needs.
Yeah, I believe he got stopped at like the 49, 50-yard line, somewhere around there. It was bad. The kicker didn't stop him. That was a touchdown.
Oh,
Baker then throws an arch to get them inside the 20, but gets sacked for a field goal. Now it's 24-12. The 49ers are kind of like the Lions, but they're a lot better. They just keep, okay, we got the ball again. Let's keep
yeah.
playing. Uh, at the end of the third quarter, the 49ers have run away with this game at this point. The Panthers can do nothing to stop them. The 49ers get another drive of the field. Again, Panthers can't do anything. Pick up a touchdown. And then they tried to do this long extra. I don't know why. I tried to look into it to see if they got a flag or something somewhere, but they have like this 50-yard, 40-yard like extra point attempt, and they missed it.
Which makes
And
sense.
and the score is like 32, and the score is 30-12. Uh, the Panthers tried to make a slow, methodical drive up the field, but can't get into the end zone. They settle for a field goal, and it's 30-15. The Panthers are stuck at the 5-yard line. They can't get a drive going. Baker sacked on the fourth, and the 49ers easily convert it into a touchdown. The score is 37-15. The Panthers try to get a drive going again to like actually, shorten that shorten that deficit, make it look like a better game. They can't, and Niners just easily kick their teeth in. It was not even a game at this
Not even
point.
close.
It was a practice for the 49ers. It was awful.
Yeah.
Awful, awful, awful.
This kind of reminded me of like week one for a college team where they play like some D2 school, like Appalachian State. Uh, you know, uh, I don't know, Football Town USA University.
Mhm.
And you just kick the shit out of them, get your confidence up, and move along. That's what this game was, I think, really for the 49ers. Now, yeah, the Panthers had, I wouldn't even, I mean, a glimpse or two, but I think it was just, they were bound to get something going.
And that's all the games for the NFC South. With that, the Buccaneers lead the NFC South. 3 wins, 2 losses. And tied for second place is the Saints and Falcons with 2 wins and 3 losses. And of course, in last place, it is the Panthers with 1 win and 4 losses.
Yeah. All right. Now, going down to the Eagles and Cardinals.
Oh, Burr game. It's a cockfight.
Yeah. Bakak, motherfucker. Eagles edge it out. But I mean, it wasn't for lack of trying. They did do well. Uh, Eagles defense coming out hot, keeping Kyler Murray contained. Big thing. Not a lot of pressure per se, but this defense is used to seeing a running quarterback. They see Jalen Hurts burning them Monday through Sunday or Saturday before they go onto the field on Sundays. So they have an idea of how a running quarterback works. So you keep Kyler Murray in that pocket. You make sure he can't do anything. And we know that he is inaccurate with the long throw. What is it? I know that he misses a couple. I think he throws a pick, throws into double coverage, and throws it about 4 yards under, which was one of the big ones that I saw. I don't know if he did throw a pick. I could have sworn he did, but it don't matter. Um, the Eagles' offensive line is staying strong and establishing the line, and it makes it easy for the running back to go through. The speed of the Eagles, again, it's another parent pulling a wagon situation. And Jalen Hurts, he knows he knows football. I mean, he doesn't. You don't have to be a. You can be an NFL quarterback and just know football. That's all you need to do. Now, Jalen Hurts has this great chemistry with the receivers, and you can really see it with the scramble drill. Now, I don't know if you know what the scramble drill is.
Isn't that where it's like keep the ball alive as long as possible and get to the end zone? Like
Basically, yeah. The
it's like
quarterback,
it's like all the it's like all the laterals and
no, not exactly. That's more just some schoolyard bullshit.
that's
But
what
it's
school
kind of it.
does.
Yeah, well, kind of. Now, the scramble drill is when a quarterback gets flushed out of the pocket either by pressure or doesn't see anything. Something moves him out.
Oh,
And
okay,
now
okay,
all the
okay.
receivers have to start playing like some schoolyard bullshit. So you're in the same vein where, hey, you got to make a move out there. You got to find the seam and coverage. And you see it because Jalen Hurts is so great and he is such a dual threat that the secondary has to bite on that run. And he just gets it right there, pops it right over, hits the seam. He's a good quarterback, and the chemistry is seen there. They're definitely, the Eagles are definitely riding the 4-0 high. If you ever been in a great day, everything's just great. You know, you could fall and skin your knee, but you'd be like, man, I've never noticed
Yeah.
how
Hey man, this ground looks great.
right. Like, man, I've never seen that flower here before. I guess God must have like tripped me on purpose to see it. You know, type shit. That's the 4-0 high that they're running right now. Now 5-0. And it's giving them extra pep in their step. You can see the extra effort from the linemen moving and making sure that they're going into their block, especially on the run. They're going into the second level. They're double team kick off of that block and go on to the next one and keep going through. Everybody just looks like they're actually having fun out there. Now, let's see. Again, Kyler, like I said, just not great at the long ball, and the defense takes advantage of that with just sitting there. Now the defensive line, they go up and they're playing sideline to sideline. They're not playing horizontal. They're not trying to get downfield and establish a new scrimmage, but they still do. But they keep on their block and they know that they can throw off, shuck out of the way, and get to Kyler Murray if he flushes out of the pocket. But they're playing this contain, and it's fantastic. They get in, they see him, and as soon as he makes a play, they move in, they move out. They have, and again, the defense is used to seeing this kind of running quarterback. So all they have to do is just play sideline to sideline, keep him contained, and it was that easy. Now, one thing that Kyler Murray struggles with is edge blitzing. I don't know if he just doesn't see it. I don't know if he thinks it's not going to get them
Of course he
there
doesn't
fast
see it.
enough.
He's like 4'10".
Yeah, but it's coming from the outside. That's the crazy part to me.
I don't know, maybe his I
Maybe
mean,
he's got peripheral blindness.
yeah, I mean, I was gonna say his blindside tackles are larger than him, so you're not gonna see anybody coming.
That's very, yeah, very true. Uh, the Eagles' offense, the quarterback read options that they do with Jalen Hurts, and I don't know if I talked about it a little bit with Mariota, but the quarterback is gonna hand it off, and it's that delayed handoff where he's either gonna pull it or he's gonna leave it. I think he only pulls it once or twice, but every time he does it, it freezes that secondary. It freezes everybody, and that really opens up their run game, as well as, you know, the offensive line making people hurt. In the mid second, that's when Murray really starts getting frustrated, and it just follows him throughout the game. The only thing I can say that Hurts struggles with as a quarterback, he does know football, but for whatever reason, he can't see underneath coverage. So I don't know if it's those low zones, but all they have to do is, as long as they don't bite on the run, they come back and they just take the ball right there. He's great at zipping that ball in, but he doesn't put enough air on it because I think he doesn't see when the linebacker kind of steps back, when that inside cornerback sits in that zone, you know, tries and gets that, just moves over a little bit to the side, sees the pass, and then jumps back. And that's where I think that first pick came from. And that could have been a second one if number 25, and I can't remember what his name is, would have done the same thing. He played way too high up. If he was 3 or 4 yards back, it would have been an easy pick, and that really would have changed this game. Um, Dude, I didn't know that JJ Watt played for the Cardinals.
We had a whole section about JJ Watt last week, right?
Yeah, no, I do. And yet again, I mean, for the first and second and most of the second quarter, I like you. If you would have told me J.J. Watt played for him, I'd be like, no way, because there was nothing happening in the backfield.
Maybe he's taking it
Um,
easier with his heart stuff, but I don't know.
he might be. Get a pacemaker put in. I don't know what to tell you,
I don't know if
but
you could play football with a pacemaker in.
like I don't know. Something's got to happen because, like I said, J.J. Watt is supposed to be this amazing guy, and like you said, he did do a couple. He had a couple plays, but I don't know. It didn't really. He's not the dominant force I thought he was. At least not anymore. He did get some pressure in on Hurts, but pressure is pressure. Jalen Hurts has been in the league long enough. Yeah, I'm sure he felt it, but it's the same as sitting a little too close to the fire. You're still going to roast your s'mores. It's not that big a deal. Now, one thing for the Cardinals, Marquise Hollywood Brown. I am not making that up. That is his real nickname. Dude was having a great game. He was just this little slot receiver, excellent quick routes. He just needed to catch one or two more passes. He drops one that hits him right off the fingers. That would have changed it. That would have taken him all the way to the first down, maybe even more because he did catch him in stride. But they just needed to target him one or two more times. They did have a fake punt in the second, and it's cool, but you get the momentum and you immediately let it go. I mean, who cares? Now, one thing I will say, the Cardinals secondary is great at coming down on the run when it is a run play. If it's not, they get frozen. Jalen Hurts picks them apart. And I mean, it's just being taken advantage of. The Cardinal run game was slow. I couldn't even tell you who ran for him. But one thing I did see that was very big was every time the Eagles were coming right at the point of attack. That was it. They left massive holes on the side, no containment whatsoever. And there was a couple plays where they did exploit that when they were able to and do a little cut and just bounce outside. There was a couple plays where the Cardinals or offensive line actually did move people, but one or two. The biggest thing was him, everybody crashing down, and then the running back just bouncing out for the Cardinals. Dude, the quarterback sneak for the Eagles, they love that play. It is their bread and butter. They don't even need to run to get 2-3 yards every time. They did it 4 or 5 times and nobody stopped them. The only thing I can say is I don't even know if it's a penalty anymore. But the jumping over the line to try and stop a hit, to try and stop the play with the running back like trying to jump over, is that illegal?
What?
So like on that quarterback sneak,
Mhm.
the center, the guard, and the two guards on each side crash down and push as hard as they can. Quarterback kind of gets right behind him and pushes. Along with they also had a fullback and a running back for the Eagles. Now, who's to say if they do that, somebody doesn't jump over the top and nail Hurts?
I think that is illegal.
Right, I think it is, and I think they're
I
definitely taking advantage of it.
because Troy Polamalu used to love to do that.
Right,
I think the only time you can do it is on kickoffs.
and I
You
believe that you have
you
to
have
you can't touch anybody.
you can't touch him at all.
Yeah, you have to send it way over the top. Now, Kyler Murray, I was talking about it last week. He just likes to sail the ball. I mean, he just needs to be accurate with his longer throws. He has the arm, but I don't know if he just doesn't have the form. If he feels more comfortable running and gunning, but he needs to get accurate. Now, my final thoughts: Jalen Hurts is a force to be reckoned with, but if you can contain him like the Eagles did with Murray, which is what I was talking about last week, where you just keep, if they didn't have a spy, but they had every defensive lineman was a spy, so they were just keeping him in that box. That's all you need. There wouldn't have been an issue. With that being said, he does have a problem with that underneath coverage, and it almost costed him twice. If, like I was talking about earlier, number 25 in the third would have just not been on the run, came back a few yards, would have been set. For the Cardinals, they need to get Kyler to settle down in the pocket on the long throws. He needs to get, I don't know, maybe it's a vision thing. Maybe he's seeing 20-30, maybe 30-20. Something's up. I don't think he can be that inaccurate. Uh, the run with the quick handoffs was great when they weren't trying to get it to where they were trying to read option. You can't leave the Eagles with that much time. They were definitely coming in way too hard for you to actually see anything going on. The book was being slammed in your face. There was no read on that option. You should have just given it up. Uh, there was a couple designed runs for Kyler Murray that got them a good amount, but again, those are designed runs, and that's where they took away the defensive lineman spies, and that's where you needed the linebacker spy, which is why I think that even though they did a good job here keeping Kyler Murray together, they should have just had them going after him and then had one of their faster linebackers or shit, even a cornerback if he's that fast. Just get in there to stop him and to be able to bring everybody down. Uh, yeah. Biggest thing is they just weren't equipped to deal with Jalen Hurts and the adjustments needed for it with the D line. That was basically it.
Yeah, the Cardinals have been a giant disappointment this year. Speaking of
Last season,
giant disappointments, let's talk about
oh,
the Giants and Packers.
Green Bay and the Packers.
This was a fun game to watch in the second
It
half.
was,
I only
yeah,
watched
in the second half.
I only watched half of it because I was doing other things and I wasn't really planning on watching this game, but I caught it for the second half and it was pretty fun
Yeah,
for a London game.
yeah. Oh man, and that crowd was into it, man. They were chanting probably for like Arsenal, but they were like, hey,
Were they were they were not. I'm gonna send you something. There's a group of Giants fans. Uh, they were chanting after the game, "Shoved your cheese up your ass" or something like that.
oh, some fucking solid hooligan work. Yes.
Uh, yeah, I'm gonna try and find a video of it and send it to you. Oh, it was great. Oh well, continue to talk while I find it.
All right. Uh, Green Bay offensive line was fantastic. They were going to the second level every time on the run, but for whatever reason, they could not pick up the blitz. Aaron Rodgers was running for his life. I mean, he wasn't running because he's a good enough quarterback to know his checkdowns and know where things are going to be, even with his third string receivers minus Randall. Oh, and he has one more
Here you go.
something I can't remember. The Giants first drive, I thought that it was exactly the way the Giants go. You posted it here, but I can't click this.
I mean, you can copy paste it.
Oh my god, dude, making me do work.
It's great. It's worth it though.
Let's see.
Sorry to detract from the
No, you're
Packers
fine.
ass kicking.
Yeah. Go England. They have a way with words. That was pretty funny. And as an NFC East rival, I wholeheartedly agree. Or an NFC rival, they
Yeah,
have kicked us
they
out of the playoffs numerous times.
Oh, don't worry. We've returned the favor and kicked them out of the playoffs both past 2 years.
Thank
So
you. Thank you. Fuck you, Aaron Rodgers. Anyway, you don't have a team anymore, so I'm sad for you. Well, I'm not sad. Fuck you. You get what you deserve. Anyway, so the Giants' game plan, not great. No, I mean, it didn't look like they had one. It looked like they were all over the place. No real communication, bunch of miscues, no run blocking. However, next drive, I guess they just needed just one run to get it out. That warm up drive started bringing heat, and they were going through the Packers again, like Hershey squirts through a screen door.
yeah,
Saquon Barkley was getting through very nicely.
Daniel Jones threw for 217 yards, completed 21 out of 27 passes. Aaron Rodgers threw for 222 yards and completed 25 of 39 passes.
Yeah, and the biggest thing I take from that, yards are great, but yards are only as good as your receivers. How good your receivers are with yards after the catch. Completion is where I really look at it. Daniel Jones extremely accurate, about
Yeah,
70%. And you see Aaron Rodgers, he's a Super Bowl quarterback. He knows his checkdowns. He knows his offense. He's been there for 15 years now. Like,
mind
well, it's not
you,
15, but
last week I said Aaron Rodgers had a problem of his receivers dropping passes. This week
Yes.
it was the problem of Aaron Rodgers missing those receivers.
Yes. This was the flip side of the coin.
And I still guarantee you he'll go on uh oh, I can't remember his name now. I was about to say it.
I don't know.
McAfee
I mean,
show.
there
And
wasn't a lot of polish. I mean, I don't know. There's a game company that has really good polish.
anyways, I still guarantee you Aaron Rodgers will go on Pat McAfee's show and somehow blame it on his teammates when in reality this was pretty much all on him.
Yeah, I actually have that as a note here. Rogers is showing he's still got it, but at times it seems like he has the void look back at him, and he just says "fuck it" and he just throws it.
Yeah, he does that a lot. He likes to arm punt the ball.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, sure, that general area, and
And
he's gonna be like, well, that was a miscue. He's actually supposed to break at 5, not 7 yards. Well, you need to see the coverage. The coverage and the wide receiver route are what dictate. Because you can't throw in the coverage, and you can't throw when the receiver's not there. I mean, those are the two things you have to look for. Uh, yeah, it wasn't much there. Uh,
yeah, the
Giants doing well.
Packers
Go ahead.
dominated the first half, but then didn't
Yeah,
score any points during the second half. If you, I mean, technically they did. If you really want to count the safety the Giants took to kill the clock.
yeah, but I mean, the game was actually they gave him what 13 seconds or
Yeah,
something like
I
that.
mean, they could have pulled a miracle, but that's like a 1 in a billion chance.
Right, especially with the receiving core he has. They needed to get the ball down there fast, and it wasn't going to happen. Not with that. Not with what was going on.
Speaking of time, the clock was really fucky wucky during
Yeah,
the fourth quarter.
yeah.
Uh, and I'm sure Packers fans are gonna watch that and huff major copium and say that's why they lost. But
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, not the entire, other what,
second half of
45
the
minutes
game,
of gameplay,
yeah,
you know? Yeah, they the entire first half, it felt like it was just a stat pad game. They were
it,
both doing well enough, but it was just like, yeah, I'll let you get 4 yards, but then you let me stop you a couple times. Like there wasn't any real consistency either way. And it wasn't like it was like a slugfest going back and forth. It was just, hey, I'm gonna try this play. This is your turn to take it off. And then, hey, I'm gonna try. Like it was like they went to practice and they were like, hey, we're not gonna play this Sunday anyway. Do you want to just take it easy? And it's like, yeah, but we gotta make it look good. We'll just kind of bang our helmets together a little bit. But that was it. Uh the Packers started getting momentum in the second with some short routes and a couple screens, which is perfect because for whatever reason, if you let these receivers go off on their own, I don't know if they get wild or if Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to look where they're actually going. He's just, hey, follow the playbook to the T and it'll be there, as opposed to actually getting any chemistry going with his receivers. Um Giants defense was getting ate up through the middle. But they could go sideline to sideline. Absolutely no running outside. Packers defense was just textbook. You just plug the lanes, knowing where to play coverage. The D line wasn't great, but the O line is not being worth what they're just not worth what they're being paid for the Giants. I get the only way that I can think that they could actually get somebody to block for Daniel Jones is if they start making the O line pay for his insurance premiums. That's the only way I see them maybe making an effort. Uh, Now the Giants are feeling the loss of Shepard. He went down in the last couple minutes of the Dallas game in Week 3, and that's not allowing the defense to open up because you don't have any more threats. Now there's not a lot of one-on-one plays. It's all this coverage, man on man, and Daniel Jones can't get rid of the ball, and he constantly has to make something happen on his feet, which is why he's running so much. And he does have that fucked up ankle, and it's only getting worse, and he needs to protect himself. They need to get something going, because if they hurt him right now, he's never going to fully recover. It's just, he's going to be broken down in 2 years unless they can start shoring up that offensive line. And like I said, he's a good quarterback, but you can see he's scared. In the first quarter entirely, he's throwing the ball and like spinning out as if he sees something out of the corner of his eye that's gonna light him up. He's throwing it and just like it's so weird in his form, and I guarantee you, it's all like the PTSD of getting hit. The quarterback draws for the Giants are going to ruin Jones, but they work. Now, with that saying said, also, they have Saquon Barkley, and his vision was doing great for them. They were getting through the Packers line when they needed to. Saquon Barkley, I think, what, had another 100-yard rushing game and a good average. It wasn't like he was just breaking one or two
Uh,
big plays. He was actually getting through.
Saquon Barkley, I think he ran for like under 100 yards.
It was at least close, though.
I'm sorry, I was
Was it
researching
not?
something while doing
No, no,
it,
no.
something weird.
Yeah,
Saquon Barkley, 70 yards.
70.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it
No,
was a consistent 70.
sorry to derail us a little. I was looking at the stadium they were playing in just to figure out what it was, and it
Was
says
it
North.
Tottenham?
Yeah, it was, but
Damn it.
on the where I'm looking at, it says it played in Northumberland Development Project, which is a stadium in Pennsylvania. So I was really confused. Apparently, there
Uh,
was another stadium called that in London, and so I was like, "Where is it?" And I clicked on location. It says London, but when I click on Google, which I'm using to look at like stats, it brings me to one in Pennsylvania. So I go into like Google Maps, right? And it still brings me to the one in Pennsylvania. Uh, the one in Pennsylvania, 2 star by the way, one review. The
wow.
review says okay,
No,
just okay.
it's not a great
Anyways,
stadium. It's not a bad one.
and then
It's okay.
I searched the coordinates in
You getting the longitude and latitude there, Lewis and Clark?
yeah, basically. And it's played in Tottenham again. But that was really confusing for me.
Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah. It's right outside of London. Or right on the outskirts of London.
Oh, it is in the projects, apparently.
I don't know. I've never been to London, so I couldn't tell you.
Neither have I. They have something called the Large Benjamin.
Oh, Big
So,
Ben.
yeah, that too. I
Uh,
wonder if that one's following girls into the bathroom as well.
might be. Anyways, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, vastly a better stadium than the American counterpart. 4.7 on Google. Continue.
Okay. Uh, yeah. Jones, I think, still needs some confidence in his ability. I think he still has this. There's things that you can't teach, and it's
That man risks it all every time he goes for a run.
yes, he does. He has no self preservation whatsoever. He's
He has
Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant. Like he's just. I mean, you can't fight a bear, and that's probably what saved him. But I mean, you can try something.
yeah,
Instead, he runs right into the bear.
he has a bum ankle, and he still ran for 37 yards
Yeah,
and did all that. He equaled out Aaron Rodgers today,
yeah.
and
No, go ahead.
I don't know. This game was just so fun to watch in the second half. I don't have much
Yeah,
to say about it.
yeah. The first half was whatever, but the second half is when they actually woke up. I don't know if they made adjustments, which should have been done beforehand. I don't know if the coaches on the side were just like, yeah, we're just gonna let this ride and maybe something will break and this is how we'll get through. But Packers had the Giants beat in that mid fourth drive with the illegal formation and the unnecessary roughness penalty that let the Giants take the go ahead touchdown. Now that came, I think it's his name was McDonald or something. The play was over, but he still decided to go in, and they would have had him, dude. They would have had him at least third and long, or not third and long, but third and goal. But it was like 3-5, 3-6, and he decided to do that. Give him first and goal, and sure enough, easy touchdown. They have a high enough powered offense that's easy enough. Now, if it was the Panthers, the Lions, Texans, I'd have been like, it's still you made a bad play, but we can still make up for it. Not
Yeah.
here. There was a big play from Saquon in the fourth to give him momentum, cut up, sliced and diced. Definitely, man was definitely hitting the culinary school that you see the number for at like 2 a.m. back in like 2006 when you were watching Comedy Central present stand-ups. And this play was special because it lets Saquon show you what he can do when and the whole thing is when he's not relying on the line to get to the second level. I believe it was a little. He was lined up to the outside. It was just a quick little five and in. And if you don't have to make him rely on an offensive line, he can get there. Uh, the last play for, or the last drive for the Giant or Packers was played with absolutely no awareness whatsoever. They wasted an entire 5 minutes. They had timeouts, but I mean they used them in that time, I believe. Even then, like they had no issue. They were like, yeah, we're gonna win with this, but they were still down, even with the touchdown. So it made no sense for them to waste as much time as they did and then rely on their defense, especially with Saquon Barkley. I mean, all they have to do is run it. Saquon, you give it to him 3 times, he's gonna get at least one good run of those 3 times. And sure enough, that's what happened to kind of end it. Um, well, at least waste enough of the clock to where they had nothing to go on towards the end. Uh, yeah, I guess they were just that's what kept them from getting another defensive stop and maybe taking it to an OT. But you can't do it unless because the defense is going to be playing prevent defense, which is going to be all the safeties high up, all the defensive backs are going to be high. Linebackers are going to be playing a little off the ball, and you're not going to get a touchdown or anything without some schoolyard bullshit. And even then, where you just keep lateraling it back, it's not going to happen. That's the one in the billion. Now, my final thoughts in the game: Giants aren't doing super well.
4-1.
They are 4-1. But I don't think they're really doing all that hot. I think they have a lot of things that they need to fix. The offensive line, first off, and they need to stop having Jones try and make it up on the field or on his feet. They need to make sure that they shore up the offensive line or at least find some type of running scheme that works because Saquon's contract is going to be up soon. And if they don't have any offensive line, there's no reason for him to come back. He can go to almost any other team, and any other team would pay him whatever he wants. So they need to make sure that they don't fuck up Jones. They need to get Saquon at least a somewhat decent line, or at least a half a line or a scheme that works with it. Because once he goes, it's all on Jones, and then Jones is going to get fucked up the next year that Saquon's out if they don't bring in something else. If they don't bring in another running back or shore up the line. And even then, Jones doesn't have the confidence. I mean, he's getting better, but I don't think he has the confidence to really run a team. For the Packers, they need to bring back this receiving core. And with this core, you might be okay with Rodgers, but you can see it, man. You can see it in his eyes. The toll has been taken on him. He doesn't want to do this anymore. He wants a team that's gonna win. I don't know if he wants more say so. I know that he's been trying to get out of Green Bay for a few years now.
I mean, there's all these rumors saying he wants out of Green Bay, but if he
I don't
really
think he's
wanted out
trying
of
hard enough.
if he really wanted out of Green Bay, he would have left Green Bay.
Oh, absolutely. Somebody would have picked him up. And he should have done it sooner rather than later, probably 2 years ago when these rumors started coming out, because he's going to just turn into another Matt Ryan with the Colts and be getting fucking demolished and trying to get something going that's not there and throwing for 50 plays every time because there's no run game. The route running for the receivers for the Packers and the inability to help with the scramble, which is key for receivers, as we saw with the Eagles game, is just not there. I mean, these guys have been in the league long enough. Shit, they run this drill in middle school, high school, like Papa Warner even. Like there's no reason why they aren't trying to help him out more. But I think they're trying to stick to the bread and butter, or not bread and butter, but black and white game plan or play. And Aaron Rodgers is getting mad at them when they don't. He's getting mad at them when they deviate to try and make something happen. And the chemistry is not there, and it's a big issue, and they're not going to be going anywhere very fast.
That brings the end to the NFC East, with Eagles
Yes.
still in first place with 5 wins, 0 losses.
We
Tied
will
for
find out
sec-
next week.
tied for second is the Cowboys and Giants with 4 wins and 1 loss. And in last place again, the Commanders with 1 win and 4 losses.
The Commanders just absolutely running the back of the bus. It's not very long either. It's only 2 seats to the front, but still.
We will do our not recap our predictions for week 6, and then we have one more topic that has nothing to do with football, but it's something I want to talk about. All right. So at the top, we have Commanders and Bears. I believe the Bears are going to take it, not by much. I think it's going to be a 17-20 game.
Uh, Honestly, man, I think that Commanders I'm gonna say they didn't play a hard team. They played the Titans, but they're showing improvement. I think that they're starting to nail it down. I'm gonna take the Commanders over the Bears. 22-17.
Okay. Next up is the Ravens and Giants. I'm gonna go Ravens on this one. Definitely it's gonna be like a 37-28 game. I think that not 28. I'll go 20, 25.
I mean, I do like it. Uh, I do. I'm gonna follow you on the Ravens. Uh, I think it's gonna be a lot closer. I think it's gonna be a harder fought game, and I'm gonna go with probably a 32-24.
All right. Next up, we have Jaguars and Colts. This is a game that no one's going to want to watch. I'm gonna say the Jaguars are gonna win this one. I'm gonna go with 15-12.
Yeah. Uh, Jaguars. I mean, the kid ain't doing hot. Their quarterback is not doing hot. I can't even remember his name, but I'm always excited to see him. But that's just it. He's a good friend, but you remember who he is 10 minutes into the meeting. I think the Colts are going to pick apart this Jaguars secondary with Matt Ryan, even without a running game. I think the Colts are going to take it. Not a very high game, I would say, but maybe 14-10 Colts.
All right. Up next is Patriots and Browns. I'm gonna go with the. This is gonna probably be like an evenly contested match. In my
Yeah.
head, I'm gonna go
Yes.
Browns on this one though. 23-26 on the Browns.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I'm actually going to flip it. I think the Patriots are going to come off of this win to against I don't know who it was where they kicked the shit out of them like 29-0. I think they're
That's
going to come out
Lions.
hot. Lions, yeah, but they're not going to come out hot enough to do anything major. I think it's probably going to be 2017 to the Patriots.
Up next, we got Bengals and Saints. I think the Saints are going to lose this one if they keep sticking with Andy Dalton, which I assume they're going to, because they're not very bright. Bengals are still a worthy opponent, even though they've lost, I think, most of their games this season. Uh, I'm going to go with a 32. I'm going to go with a 30-20 for
For who?
Bengals and Saints.
Yeah, but who do you have winning? I just heard 30 to
Oh,
24.
Bengals winning 30-24.
I'm gonna flip that. I think the Saints are. I think Dalton
Uh,
he's weird, but I'm gonna take the Saints. 24, Bengals 17.
Up next, we have the Buccaneers and the Steelers. I think again we're gonna blow the Steelers out of the water. If we can get our defense down pat in the second half, there's no shot for them. We're gonna blow them out. We're gonna go 28-17.
I agree. I think the Buccaneers are absolutely gonna roll over the Steelers, even if they bring back Trubisky and sit Pickett for this one. Pickett's a hothead, man, and it's great. You want that moxie, but it shows up in his play style. You can be high strung, but you gotta still make those high level throws. So I'm gonna say Buccaneers 28, Steelers. I'm gonna go with 12.
Up next, we have the 49ers and Falcons. Um, Again, I think the 49ers are on a roll. They are going. Their defense is hot. Their offense is hot. Falcons, they have it, but they can't get it all together. I don't think this is the game that they are going to be able to get it together. I'm going to go with the 49ers 31 to 18.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. I'm also gonna go 49ers. I think that they're gonna be kind of fizzled out here. They did beat the Panthers really, and they're gonna have a great game. Uh, I'm seeing 24, maybe 21 49ers taking it.
Up next, we got the Jets and the Packers. I'm not sure about the Jets. The Jets have been winning games that they shouldn't have, and
Yep.
they're losing games that they're gonna lose anyways. This one's up in the air for me. I think overall Aaron Rodgers is a way better quarterback. I think he's gonna be mad after last week's loss to the
Hmm.
Giants. But I don't know. I kind of want to give it to the Jets for the meme. I'm gonna go with Jets on this one. I'm gonna say it's a close game. I'm gonna go with 27 to 24 going to the Jets.
Yeah, I think you're right here. I'm also going to go with the Jets 24-27.
Up next is the Vikings and the Dolphins. Now, two is still out.
Bridgewater
Uh,
is nursing that elbow still. I mean, he came back
yes.
if I'm not mistaken, but
If he's not 100%, I have the Vikings winning this one over the Dolphins. I'm going to go with 24 to 17.
I think it's gonna be. I don't know if Bridgewater can stay healthy and if that elbow isn't as bad as they say. I think the Dolphins take this one, 21-14.
Up next, we have the Panthers and the Rams. I believe the Rams, every time I think the Rams are going to win, they lose. But even against the Panthers, I think they're going to take this one over. I'm going to go
Yeah,
18-23 to the Rams.
I'm also gonna go Rams here, but I am going to go with a probably hmm, a 10 to 17 Rams.
Up next is the Cardinals and Seahawks. Another cockfight.
Yep.
Um, I believe this is going to be a close game. Two different kind of quarterbacking styles. Um, I think this is going to be a 20 to 25 going to the Seahawks.
Interesting. I think that they're not going to be able to stop Kyler Murray, even though they've seen week after week how he can be. And I think he's going to have a good game coming up. And I'm going to go with Cardinals. Probably 24. Seahawks 14.
A big game. Bills and Chiefs.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting one to watch. Um, I believe the Bills are going to win this one out. I don't think the Chiefs are going to be able to stop. Um, what's his name? I can't remember his name right now.
Patrick
Uh,
Mahomes. Or
mm,
wait, you talking about the Bills?
yeah,
Jared Allen.
yeah. I don't think they're going to be able to stop Jared Allen with his big bomb passes. He threw two 99-yard passes last week.
Yeah.
Um, that case, I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and relatively speaking, I'm going to go 32 to 29 going to the Bills.
I'm going to have to agree with you there. I think the Bills just have it more together. The Chiefs were struggling against uh, Las Vegas. And I mean, Las Vegas, they're an okay team. They're doing all right. Derek Carr is good, but he's just not hitting his throws. The offense is not kicking on their pass go around. So I think they were struggling there. They're definitely going to be struggling here. Bills are going to score high. Chiefs are going to be left frustrated. I'm thinking 35-21.
And then we have a battle for tying for first place for the NFC East with the Cowboys and Eagles. Um, Eagles really haven't played a real football team this year. You'd be like the first real ones that they would. In that case, I think you're gonna beat them out. But I think it's gonna be close. I have you guys winning it 21 to 19.
Ooh, that's exactly what I was thinking. If the Cowboys can find a way to keep Jalen Hurts in that box, which they're very speedy front line and secondary, I think it's going to be good.
And finally, We have the Broncos and Chargers. Honestly, the Chargers are going to kick the Broncos' teeth in my opinion, uh, heavily. I think the Broncos are going to be left in the dust, and for that reason, I'm going with a 15-25.
Yeah, I mean, sounds good to me. Chargers, I think it's gonna be a 28-17. It's definitely gonna be a two-score game going to the Chargers.
All right, and that's the recap for week 5 or week 4. I'm sorry, no, week
Yeah.
5. I'm losing my mind.
Week 5. Yeah, week 5, week 5.
All right,
And there you have it. And that is why your team sucks. And this is the argument behind it. And you know for a fact as a fan, we're right.
not taking any other questions at this time.
Absolutely not. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
That's a beautiful clip.
God, it is. Awesome.
So
Right?
going into future podcasts, I think we're just gonna do uh our two conferences
Yeah.
and talk about another game maybe if we think one's
If there's like a
interesting,
yeah.
like the Bills and the Chiefs,
Yeah.
uh like that. We'd probably talk about that. And I think we're gonna talk about like two other topics maybe that don't have to do with football, one from me and one from Cheese Peas.
Yeah.
This week though I wrote one up and it's about Disney adults. Do you know what a
All
Disney
right.
adult is? Without looking at
Uh
my notes.
Without
Did
looking
you
at it, I'm kind of aware of the kind of I'm aware of the term. It's just a psycho adult that is in love with Disney way too much.
Yeah, kind of. If I had to equate them to something, it would be like what we considered what a weeaboo was in the early
A,
2000s.
a brony.
Yeah, kind of like that. It's a negative. It has like a negative connotation to it. The only definition you could find for a Disney adult is from Urban Dictionary, so take that with a grain of salt. A millennial adult, a Disney adult, is a millennial adult with or without kids. Like can't stop talking about Disney, including the movies and the parks. Even if they do have kids, they're still way more obsessed with it than their kids will ever be. They probably engage in casual Disney bounding. I'll get to that in a second. And visit the theme parks at least once a year. They are obsessed with everything Disney and probably have a Mickey Mouse bumper sticker and or tattoo. So,
Which is really the tramp stamp of my childhood has left me.
tramp stamp. Okay. Um,
Tramp stamp of lost childhood.
like the definition says, the problem isn't parents who take their kids to Disney or even older adults who go to Disney once or twice. It's about the ones who really hyper obsess over it. Um, and some of them don't even take their kids to Disney when they visit, which I'll tell a story about that in a little bit. I have some personal thoughts about that and experience.
Oh, oh.
Uh, now Disney bounding is where you kind of dress up to resemble a Disney character. Uh, as like an example, if you want to dress up like Winnie the Pooh, you would wear like yellow pants or shorts and wear a red T-shirt, and you're dressed like a honey addicted bear. That in itself isn't too weird in my opinion. It's kind of like going to a convention and dressing like a character that you like. You know what I mean? Like cosplaying a character.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Uh,
that's perfectly
where it
reasonable. That's
gets
understandable.
where it gets to be weird is that there's been people that have cosplayed as Disney characters like Snow White, uh, uh, Cinderella, and they would go to Disney, and kids would go up to them, and you can kind of see where that would cause problems. You don't want your kid
Look,
going
man, they
up
trying
to a
to
random. You don't want your kid going up to somebody who isn't from Disney, and that person potentially yelling at your kid or doing something that's not okay. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a strict no touching policy that I don't think that they adhere to.
No, you're allowed to. The cast members was what should they call them as cast members, which is really fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
It's like giving them a fake title. Anyways, the cast members are allowed to touch them. The only time that they are is like if the child touches them first, like for a hug, then they go in for a hug. Then it's okay because the child is kind of like they want you're allowed to reciprocate those like feelings or like a handshake or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're allowed to touch them. It's
Yeah.
just like you're not allowed to physically like assault them. Of course not.
Right. Now, have you seen? I don't know if this is what you're talking about a little later on, but there's a clip of a girl going up to the Gaston character and putting her hand on his chest and like, ooh, like really sexually. And
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
no, no, turn it around, leave. And he like
Uh-huh.
breaks character and she's like, get the fuck out of here, you freak.
Yeah. I don't really talk about that, but yeah, that's another problem. Is that these people will go up to them, touch the actors, and makes them really uncomfortable. Which I don't blame them.
Right. They get touched all the fucking time. This was pre-COVID. I guarantee you now, if she would have touched him, he would have just set her on fire and been like, "Now the godliness has returned to the park."
Um, there's another problem with Disney adults, and I'll get more of the Stranger Disney adults in a little bit. But
Okay.
there's a really one that I really wanted to talk about as well. It's Golden Oaks. Now, if you don't know what Golden Oaks is, I'll explain to you a little bit. It's a
Yeah.
large gated community in Celebration, Florida, with several different neighborhoods inside of it. All
Are
of
you
them,
serious? Is it
all
really
of
called Celebration Florida?
yes,
Football Town, USA. Okay, let's go.
all of it, all the land and all the stuff is owned and operated by Disney. Excuse me.
Jesus
Excuse me.
Christ.
This place is like a beacon for the richest and most insane Disney adults, in my opinion. It's almost like a cult. Um, there's this country club, which includes a clubhouse. You also had to buy into this. So not only do you have to buy a house, which I'll talk about the prices of the house. You can buy into like their the country club that they have there, and you have to pay HOA fees, which I don't know what they are, but I'm assuming they're insane. Uh,
Absolutely.
there's a country club which includes a clubhouse, a rec hall, a 21 over lounge, a pool, a fitness center, and a family center. Now, being part of like that club also gets you park and special event tickets, private VIP tours, special dining reservations. Uh, so yeah, there's a lot to that, like that perk of buying into the club rep
Oh yeah. So
membership.
if you want to, yeah, if you want to save money on your season ticket, you can just buy a house.
Yeah, yeah, save money by on a season ticket by at the time of me researching it, the only house for sale is $9.5 million. So yeah, you're saving a ton of money there. I'm sure you are.
Oh yeah.
That house includes, and I shit you not, 6 bedrooms and bathrooms, as well as a half bath, an infinity pool, 3 indoor fireplaces, and an elevator for a 2-story home. An elevator. I don't know why you need an elevator in a 2-story home.
Are
It's
you
it's
like
not like
talking shit about homeowners with disabilities?
okay, uh, no. One, most of these people that are living there are rich, white, upper class people. I'm not saying they can't have disabilities. I'm saying
But they can just buy
I
new
don't
legs.
know
Like it
why.
doesn't matter.
I don't know why. And most of the houses include an elevator. It's not just this special one.
Oh wow.
That's why I'm like, why are these houses including elevators in a 2-story home?
Probably to make it easier on the movers when you get foreclosed on in 3 months between the
Yeah.
HOA fees and the actual taxes on the house.
Um, It also comes with a view of the golf course, nature preserve and pond, and finally a 4-car garage. Forgot to mention that all the interior design has Disney theme in it. The bedrooms have like Woody, Mickey Mouse, that sort of thing. Uh, all like the banisters might have like hidden Mickey ears all over them. It's also very hard, I've heard, to have your house renovated due to the HOA, which is probably a nightmare to deal with because of all the fees and the people who I assume are run it are all crazy people. If you want to know more about it, the Golden Oaks, I'll leave a link to a video down in the description of the video that you can go check out. But I'm going to get back to the more the middle class, if you want to say, Disney adults. Um, to me, it's a bit strange, if not Orwellian, or even more cult-like, to be this devoted to a corporation and spend the amount of money that these people do at Disney or for Disney. It's ridiculous. Um, Now I'm going to talk about a friend that I used to know fairly well, so I'm not going to say her name here. We'll call her Emma.
Her real name was Aim, wasn't it? You just put Emma backwards.
No, not even. Um, Anyways, we don't speak to each other anymore due to like mutual friend drama, mostly, people in the friend group dating each other and it becoming a problem. I had
Yikes, dude.
nothing to do with it.
Oh, so who did you get in the divorce?
I got no one.
Oh,
Um,
well, better lawyers. What can you do?
yeah. Um, so Emma would go to Disney and still does about once or twice a month. And every time she goes, I see a wall of pictures from her visit, and it's always her and her mom, but never Emma's daughter. And out of all her visits to Disney, I think the kid has gone maybe about once or twice, but not even close to the sheer amount of times I see her mom. It's I think it's a little messed up to drop your kid off at a grandparent's or someone else's house and go visit Disney with your child who I assume wants to go just as bad as you do. And it's not like her kid is like a year old. She's like, I want to say like 5 or 6 now.
That's that. Yeah, they're definitely making memories, and the memories they have are mom's away at quote unquote work.
Uh, I know that these kind of Disney trips have been going on for years before the kid was born, but I think it just rubs me the wrong way that
That's
she devotes that
crazy
much of
cringe.
her like time, her money and stuff. You don't even bring your kid to Disney with you, and you're coming away from all this. I don't know. It just kind of rubs me really the wrong way. I think it's a bit cringy. When we would even hang out before the kid was born, she would just continuously talk about her trips to Disney, how she wants to go to Disney. Um, it's like she would never stop talking about it. It was sometimes like unbearable. Uh, I always found it odd that a person can go and see the same thing week after week and not get bored of it. Hell, most people go to Disney once in their life. And I know in Florida, to kind of give away my geolocation a little bit, uh, we get the benefit of doing it more than most others would. But how often can Disney be adding things for it to be worth going that often? And it's not just the fact that this person goes so often and doesn't bring their daughter that makes me feel wrong about this whole Disney adult thing. It's also the social media stuff, the post about the Disney fandoms, like the headcanons where you come up with like the story to fit a fantasy you made up in your head for a question most of the time in the movies wasn't there to begin with. This thing drives me crazy as like a movie fan. You're changing the story to fit your own narrative. And if somebody
Dude, are
calls
you?
you out on it, you're getting upset at it, and it's really on you because you're changing the story.
Yeah, your
And
fanfic is garbage.
kinda, um, most of them are just uh crummy images ripped from Tumblr. I don't hate Emma or anything like that. It's more of a me having a fascination of how somebody can be so devoted to themselves so wholeheartedly into a corporation like that. I'm curious if it's like some sort of addiction where it gives them that dopamine hit when they go or post about it, like having an addict getting like their fix. Like if you're unable to go to Disney that month, if you can post about it, you get that little rush that gives you that drive that you want to go just more. And I also don't want to come off as like some wanting to stop somebody from doing what they love and what they like. It's more or less I have a morbid curiosity about these type of people.
Now, with that being said, to date the episode, I will be going to Disney for a week, 4 days after this has been recorded, and it's gonna be an entire week, and I'm staying at the Disneyland World Resort,
Oh my god,
whatever
you
it's called.
literally just doxed yourself. Not like anybody's
Yeah,
gonna go visit you, but
right. And if you have the money to do that, fucking get me a Mickey Mouse Trudel ears.
you have any questions about Disney adults? I have more.
Uh,
I just didn't want to really talk about.
so yeah, so you said something about this head cannon.
Also, I don't think you going to Disney makes you a Disney adult. You're going on like a family trip.
That is true. I'm not leaving
And
my
like I said,
5-year-old daughter at home.
it's not like the type of people who just want to go to Disney. Even adults who just want to go to Disney. It's these people that hyper obsess over it. I want to get that very clear. You can be an adult and go to enjoy Disney. As long as you are not one of those people that are like super upset with it and let it overtake your life. I mean, granted that that's bad for anything you do. I just find it weird that people let it happen to a with them in a corporation.
Oh yeah, Disney's a monopoly and it's preying on everything.
Really is.
Yeah, you know what they
What was
did?
your what?
Okay. Well, one thing before we get into that, they changed Lilo getting into the fucking dryer
Oh yeah,
on
I
in
heard about
Lilo and
that.
Stitch. Yeah, I remember this. I can recite Lilo and Stitch from heart. That's one movie I just absolutely love. Don't know why. It's just a cute movie. That's really the only Disney movie that I can like. This is my shit. With that being said, leave it as a dryer. Let the weak find out that they are weak.
Yeah, Darwinism at its finest there.
Yeah,
What was your question about Hank Cannon though?
yeah. Headcanon. Now, are you talking about headcanon where it's just somebody's headcanon, or is there actually like a place called headcanon where you can go and have the story set to where Beast falls in love with Gaston and it's just your homoerotic fanfic?
What do you mean, like a website you can go to read it?
Yes.
Yeah, there are places where you can do that kind of stuff.
Okay, so it's just like any other fanfic. Okay, when you said headcanon, I thought you meant more as like a place where you like a headcanon. There's like a Disney themed app where you can do this.
No, headcanon it doesn't refer to just Disney. Headcanon is you change the story in your own mind, and that's what you decide the story is. So you change the story, and and you choose to believe something in the story that didn't happen, essentially, or wasn't explained.
Okay.
Another
So
popular
go
fandom
ahead.
that does this a lot is Harry Potter,
Oh, Harry Potter adults.
and they're almost just they're about as bad as Disney adults at this point. I mean, I'll get into it a little bit because it's a good equation to make.
Oh yeah. Everything you said just replaced with Harry Potter and it's basically it.
Yeah, like you have adults still out there going and like taking like, what's your Hogwarts house quiz? And you're like, oh yeah, I'm in Slytherin house. Like again, I don't want to stop people from liking what they love. I like Harry Potter. I really do. I think it's minus J.K. Rowling. It's a good coming of age story. Um,
You would definitely be a Ravenclaw.
mm, I don't think I'm that smart. You know,
Mm.
when I was younger, I did take the Hogwarts house quiz and I got put in
Oh,
Hufflepuff, and I felt really bad.
really?
I felt bad about it. I was like, damn, I got put in Hufflepuff. And then somebody on that forum said, "You know why you never hear about somebody dueling a Hufflepuff? Is because they don't live to tell the tale." And that made me feel a lot better about it.
You know what? That is fair. A Hufflepuff will like hit you with the Avada Kedavra and not think twice about it because you stepped on their favorite lollipop.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, yeah, no, you were definitely a Hufflepuff. I was a Gryffindor, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not gonna be the brave guy to come in and kill the basilisk. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I want to transfer schools. which you don't find out about until 4 years later.
Anyways, yeah, that's
So
like another thing you closely equate to Disney adults.
yeah. Now going back to the headcanon. So I do have one for Disney.
Mm-hmm.
So in the opening scenes of Beauty and the Beast, there is a woman screaming that she needs 6 eggs. And then later on in the movie, you hear that Gaston used to eat 5 dozen eggs as a boy when he would get large. Now that he's grown, he eats, or I don't know how much I don't know, it's 5 or 6. Anyway, the man is creating an egg shortage, and that's why this woman is losing her mind trying to get anything going with these 6 eggs. Because Gaston is the king, thick dick, the Giga Chad of the village, and he is creating this issue.
I guess I'm not a cool dude. I said he's not a cool dude, just to clarify. Kind of an
Yeah.
asshole.
Oh, absolutely.
Doing eating 6 dozen eggs.
Yeah, like a fucking dick. I hope he gets salmonella.
He probably did back then.
Yeah. But he was just so Giga Chad that his immune system was like, nah, fam, these are eggs, not salmon. You won't get that.
Was he even like royalty, or is he just like a really strong dude in the town?
Not he's legitimately just like
Some
the hunterer of the town. He's the one kid in elementary school that just ran fast, so everybody thought he was cool.
Yeah. Do you have any topic you want to talk about, or want to wrap this up?
No.
Okay.
So if you want to
I'll look
take a peek at
forward
that.
to listening to that, I guess. I don't think we're doing a podcast next week, are we?
I might be able to get some time, but I very much doubt it. If I do, it's we're gonna record at like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pull you away from Disney.
Well, it'll be fine. At night, I can sneak away and do one real quick. The only thing is, I'm probably gonna have to do it like on my phone or something. So,
Oh God.
probably wouldn't be great. Like I can probably take a laptop with me, but
No, let's just say no. Enjoy
okay,
your vacation.
thanks. And then we'll just do week 7, and then just hit the week 6 like
Week
highlights.
7.
Yeah, this is week 5, isn't it? Or
Oh
week,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you'll miss week 6, go to week 7. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
stupid.
No, you're fine. You're just a Hufflepuff. It's okay.
Thanks, man.
I bet your
Uh,
favorite lollipop flavor is grape.
uh, yeah. No, it's not, but
Oh,
you can
what is it? What is it? If you can
my
tell me
favorite
no, you have
lollipop
one.
flavor. Um, you know the orange Tootsie Rolls?
Really?
Yeah, that's my favorite lollipop.
Wow.
One, because it's orange. Two, I like the orange flavor. Yeah, that's my favorite lollipop. I'm not a fan of those giant, like, Disney World lollipops either. Or those like weird like rupee. You know which one I'm talking about? You can get at like Walgreens, like the 4 for $1. I'm not a fan of those ones.
I have no idea what you're talking about because
Yeah, don't
Walgreens
worry
is
about
too expensive for me. I only
it.
get
Really?
my prescriptions because my insurance pays for them.
I'm talking. Well, Walgreens has decent deals on like snacks and food and that kind of stuff.
Shit, you must be going to a different Walgreens. Are you a part of their super secret savers club?
Yeah, part of their program. All
See,
you have to do is
that's
like
why you
all you
fucking
have to do
have
is
it.
sign up for it. It's your phone number.
I already had my identity stolen through Facebook, Twitter, text message, and I don't need more.
Yeah, you don't need Jeremy the plumber coming calling you again. Whoever that
Jesus
guy was.
Christ. Yeah.
Anyways, that's enough rambling. Thanks for coming and listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed it,
Yep.
and we'll see you 2 weeks from now.
Yep. So is this the outro? Do we have do we have a saying?
Bye bye.